What's up, everybody? This is the All You Can Hear podcast, live from Chattanooga, Tennessee. SCI, what? Well, live enough. From SCI, with me for this segment. This is going to be a multi-segment podcast. Going to be a ton of people coming in, coming out, whatever. First segment, I got Devin Hales.
Yeah.
You should just keep that going. We got Papa Hales.
That's right.
And we got Dustin Hales.
Wubba lubba dub dub.
Oh, that's a good. And we're just for this first segment of the podcast, first thing everybody's listening to, just want to hype up the SCI, like the magic that's kind of around SCI. This is actually my first SCI, despite,
Is it
really?
Where were you last year?
I
just kind of assume you.
Last year, remember, I was at the beach, and instead I went to New South when I came home, and then I came to AWE.
Yeah, you went to the beach.
That's right. And you were shamed because of
I
what
was
happened.
a little shamed
You were
for
ashamed.
it, but I bought it back, SCR,
Shameful.
ordered a plain,
That's
piece
right.
of cheesecake.
That's right. I forgot about that. You were there.
Yeah, I was at SCR. So.
You were with us in spirit, though.
I was there in spirit.
I mean,
and I did come to AWE, but at the time everybody was at AWE.
By that point,
everybody
it was.
I hope the same situation doesn't happen at Sup on Sunday.
Let me make this clear. I want to welcome everyone to Chattanooga. As everyone should know, if you don't, I am the Don.
Yes, absolutely.
Of Southern Graps. This is my home territory. There's nothing in the world like SCI. If you're not here, then you made the wrong decision this weekend. Because SCI is frickin' lit.
Oh my God.
I just came from a room with about 30 or 40 Graps maniacs, and the crowd is just going to swell. I just happened to have a conversation with the bad boy, who is on his way as we speak, will be coming and appearing very shortly in this near vicinity.
Wait, the bad boy's going to be here
soon? The bad boy.
Are we
going to Jannetty?
There you go. Oh, yeah, no.
Are we going to make it to SCI?
Bad boy.
Oh, the bad boy. Oh, my goodness. I feel like we can just end it there. No.
And there's a certain young fella, a stallion, that just talked to me that said he's on the way from St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh.
So I think we'll probably spot some of these gentlemen and many others around our premises in the very near future. And if you're not here, you're stupid and you're not where you need to be to see what independent wrestling is all about, because you're missing the best time of your life.
So if you're not at SCI, you're a moron.
That's right.
Yeah.
Folks, this is actually just a radio ad for Papa Hales.
Yeah, this is actually.
This is
Papa
just
was like, I'm going to play. It's funny because this doesn't come out till Monday.
This is just an advertisement.
That's exactly. It took me a year, more than a year, to build my brand. I'll tell you exactly how many. I'll tell you how many followers I had. Here's how many followers I had a year ago. Zero frickin' followers. That's how many I had. Now, you know how many I got now?
You got more than me, Papa.
I'll tell you how many I got now, damn it.
If anybody wants me...
2,701.
Okay.
That's how many.
Does anybody want me to fact check him on that one?
I mean, I believe him. I thought he had more. I thought he was in the 3,000s by now. But I would... You mentioned Kurt earlier. Kurt will actually be appearing on the podcast later.
Yep.
In a segment, Kurt, awesome guy. Everybody here, there's just so many good vibes here. Like you don't really get that. Like, WrestleMania weekend, we were all there. We were all just kind of everywhere. We didn't really, although we did get stuck at Dave & Buster's.
Yeah, we did get stuck. That was bullshit.
That was
by
bullshit,
the way.
Because who stopped serving food?
They sat us down at a table. They knew we were wanting to eat. And they told us, then we sat down, they were like, oh, yeah, we don't serve food anymore.
Ruined the Dave & Buster's
This is bullshit.
I'll never go to Dave & Buster's.
I bought some like $20 Dave & Buster's cards.
However, Dave & Buster's in San Antonio was frickin' awesome. And Dylan Hales whipped Fred Yehi at basketball at Dave & Buster's. And Sue Young flew across country to meet me at Dave & Buster's.
The hell?
When we went in there, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa came over to see me to say hi.
I love how Papa's just dropping every name.
This is also called Papa Hales putting himself over.
How do you think I built my
Kevin
freaking
Nash or
brand
Hulk
from 0 to 2,700? It's a non-stop. The truth is, The truth is, I'm just a fan. I'm just an old frickin' man watering his
Papa,
garden.
your shirt says Papa Hales on it, so.
That's true. It does.
That's
it does
right.
say
You got a
Papa
good
Hales
point
on
there.
it. But I have no money. I have no power. I have no influence. I'm just an old fart, and that's the God's
Ladies and
truth.
gentlemen, Papa Hales just lied 3 times.
No power. Please.
Okay. All right. I just want to explain something real quick. I kind of want to tell you, Tanner, I don't know if you knew about this, but let me just give you an example of the SCI experience. I believe it was after night 2 of last year's SCI. Devin, go ahead and correct me if I'm wrong on this. But after night 2, it was probably about, 6, 7 in the morning. Me, Devin, I don't even know who else was all there. Emma was randomly stumbling across the street. Dylan and I all walked to, it was literally about 12 of us or so, stumbled our way into Waffle House. The sun was coming up, and it was the SCI had ended, and we were all stumbling in for one last meal together before we all left the Chattanooga area.
I mean, that's how you end the trilogy.
That's what I'm saying. Waffle House at the end.
Of course.
Right after, I mean, come on.
That's where it should end. All good wrestling shows end at Waffle House
or Denny's.
Or Denny's, somewhere late into
Or Denny's
the night.
with the Sandman shooting on people
we were there.
in the middle of the...
We were there. We saw him.
That last night, that Saturday night, when I saw Chris Hero, I said, I'm going to do a moonsault. I said, I'm going to do a frickin' moonsault. So I went up to the room. The boys know this story. I went up to the room. I said, damn it, I'm going to do a moonsault. I was in a room by myself. There were 2 beds, so I tried to moonsault from one to the other. But I couldn't do it. I just kind of twisted sideways and kind of fell in a big heap, and I broke my glasses. So the next day, I see Chris Hero down in Atlanta because we went to go see AWE the next day. He says, dude, are you okay? I saw where you busted your glasses. But I had another pair because I really don't know why I wear glasses because I can't see anyway.
You've got a good point
It makes
there,
no
yes.
difference. If I'm going to read, I have to take my glasses off to read. I really can't see much, but I have a hell of a good time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. For those that don't know, a moonsault, that's a backflip. So, yeah, just kind of get that mental image in your head of Papa Hill's doing a moonsault. I mean, go ahead.
SCI, awesome. But I also want to do a shout out to Sup Graps.
Yes,
which
absolutely.
we're gonna do Sunday. I'm super excited about that show as
Absolutely.
well. That'll be a good topper. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't make it to Nashville. 'Cause, I mean, jobs and stuff.
They got some really good matches on that card. They got a really good commentator in that show too.
Oh, I've heard.
Yeah.
I've heard. You may have some bias there.
I think he's kind of. I've heard he's kind of an asshole.
Yeah, that's
though,
right.
so
He is. I want to mention something that's going to happen tomorrow because a lot of people are interested in this. We have some activities going on FanFest this year. We're trying to organize it a little bit better than we did last year. So later tonight we're going to have karaoke. We're getting set up in there now. That's going to be wild as hell. Who knows?
Do we have
what's
any
gonna
rap
happen.
for the karaoke?
We're going to do a dress up like a wrestler contest.
I'm already
tomorrow
there.
Night.
I'm already dressed up like.
That'll be
to
tomorrow
say.
night.
I can't even see Tanner.
Yeah,
But
I'm invisible.
kind of the big event people are looking forward to is the wrestling trivia contest because there's going to be some big prizes in that, and people are going to challenge a team of 3, which is David Bix, Chris Zellner, and this guy right here.
How'd you get yourself on that team?
Well,
thousands of hours of WWE footage.
We had to have a
Wow.
WWE mark.
Oh,
Go ahead,
yeah.
Devin, talk.
a very long time looking through PWI almanacs every year. Up until about 2008 or 2009, I would read them for hours
That's
and
what you got
memorize
into
pay-per-view dates and matches on the card. So that's where my WWE knowledge comes from.
Wow, that's.
And I've also been watching WWE for almost 20 years.
Yeah, you've been watching WWE almost as long as I've been in live.
And Devin does a blog. He watches every WWE match, even house shows and everything. And
Well, the house shows have fallen by the wayside.
Yeah.
That's
But-
Last year, though, invaluable. Even this year, invaluable resource for people that want to catch up on WWE matches.
So we had to have a WWE mark on the team. But these questions on the trivia were made up by me, and so it's basically like everything else. It's all about Papa Hales.
Yeah.
So
obviously.
you know, but at least I'm honest about it.
Yeah.
I had a guy tell me the other day, dude, all you do is put yourself over. I said, it took you that freaking long to figure that out? I mean, come on.
I mean, there's only 3 guarantees in life. That's death, taxes, Papa Hales.
That's right. That's
That's
exactly
actually a
right.
good point.
I mean, I feel like we've done a good job hyping up SCI. If anybody has guys anything else they want to mention, or we can just go roll right into plugs?
There's the
Shoot,
cake.
I have one more thing to mention.
Yeah, hit me.
I don't know about y'all, but fired up, baby.
Oh yeah, I'm fired up for the show.
That's what I gotta say. Fired up. I mean, come on.
Fired up.
Fired up. Steve over there, fired up. Steve Lerner in the room.
Yeah, incredible card. I will say that incredible
Yes,
card.
this
Year,
card-
as
card-
always.
Absolutely.
But really balanced. One thing I love about SCI is they don't put a lot of matches in that you know who the winner's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
They match guys evenly. So when you get in the tournament, you don't honestly know what the hell the outcome is going to be. I'm on the SCI team, but I only do hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
So I help to arrange hotels. I help to arrange a lot of the fun kind of stuff, but I have no idea what's going on in the booking.
Yeah.
I have no clue. I don't know how it's going to turn out when I like it that way.
Yeah.
But it's going to be fantastic. The last 2 years have been incredibly great wrestling. But if you combine that with the experience of camaraderie with your brothers and sisters, that's what it's all about to me, really.
Absolutely, and just more and more people are coming in now. I know Keith Harris is here walking
Yes,
around.
from England.
Yeah.
And we got one from
Great guy,
Australia
too. I was
on
just
the
talking
way.
to him.
So,
That's insanity to
yep.
me. But yeah, I think we did a good job hyping it up. If you guys want to do some plugs, plug it up.
Yeah, plug it up, Dev.
Well, you can follow me on Twitter at KingMotivatorH. I will be putting out my July rankings next week for WWE. And once this stuff comes out, the SCI tournament comes out, what's the video coming out on this year, the streaming service, Dad? Is it?
I should know that, and I don't.
Is it Powerbomb?
Is it coming out on Powerbomb or not?
Dylan knows, and he just announced it, and that's information I should have, and I don't. But we'll
Yeah.
get that.
You'll be able to find it on all our
Yes.
Twitters.
Yeah,
where
it'll
you'll
be
able to
all
buy
over
it.
Twitter.
Absolutely
It'll be all over
buy
Twitter.
it.
It was just recently announced. Follow the SCI Twitter
Yes,
account.
follow the SCI fan page,
And
yes.
I believe it was just announced a few days ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
PW
So-
Ponderings had it announced it in their podcast.
Yep. But I was just going to say that a match to look forward to that will be happening tomorrow night will be Anthony Henry versus Gary Jay,
Oh,
which
absolutely.
is a match that I
It's
think
gonna be
is
insane.
Yes.
It's going to
Quite good.
kill each other. It's going to be insane. Papa, you want to?
You can follow me on Twitter at Papa Hales at Mike Hales 9. You can also follow my writings at PW Ponderings and also at Wrestling with Words. I am the promoter of a new women's tournament that will be coming next year called the Making Towns Classic. We've already made arrangements to have some of the very, very top independent women's wrestlers in the country on that card. And you can follow that at Making Towns Classic, MT Classic, also on Twitter.
Awesome.
And then you can follow me at Drive By Outcast.
Did you
on
have to
Twitter.
get your Twitter account up to know what your at was?
No.
Oh, I just saw your phone.
I was looking at my count to see how many followers I had.
Oh.
I'm not
Of
even
course.
close to. I'm
Not even close to Papa Hell's numbers. I'm at
It's probably because I'm a
1751.
Roman fan.
Well,
So-
maybe. I'm wearing all John Cena stuff right now.
Well, you got a good point. Although I can't,
WrestleMania
John
34,
Cena.
folks.
God
WrestleMania
bless
34.
John.
There,
Right.
you guys
I
can
knew-
verify my Twitter. Was my
2701.
number correct?
Right there, 2701.
That's verified.
2701. And I think with that,
Oh, one more thing.
Oh.
One more thing. Tank versus Matt Riddle. I'm probably gonna cry tomorrow.
yeah,
All
probably
right.
going
Yes.
to cry. Probably going to cry.
That's-
Tank appearing on the
Tank,
podcast
the
later.
legend.
It's going to be
That's right.
great. So, yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening to segment 1. This is Tanner, All You Can Hear podcast, back at it again. We're in a locker room. And today, well, not today, it's still the same podcast, I guess. I have Wenzel with me.
Hey.
I have Dylan Hales with me.
Hola.
And I have Josh Massey with me.
Hello.
Dylan, Josh, co-promoters, co-bookers of the whole Scenic City Invitational. And today I just kind of want to get in that mindset a little bit of like how or not even surprising, but how great is it of how quickly this has grown into the kind of behemoth it is now, the undertaking it is now. Anybody can take that question.
First, let me just, and I know you didn't mean to, Scott Hensley
Yeah, absolutely.
takes as much credit as we do on this. Basically, I had the idea a few years ago to start something. I love the Ted Petty Invitational. I love the King of the Indies. I love just formats like that. A couple years ago, it just was time. I wasn't wrestling as much. Scott and I had kicked around the idea a lot. And we had the opportunity with the building in Rossville that Empire had. So we just took the bull by the horn and started fantasy booking, and then it grew into, hey, let's go ahead and do it. Then last year, I started talking to Dylan and Papa for the first time more, and they helped out a lot last year. And we know the success of last year, and this year Scott and I talked, and Dylan is a no-brainer. He's helped in every way you can imagine, and he's a great asset to our team. The only way this is going to grow and be successful is if we can bring people into the fold that we can trust, that we can be honest with. If an idea sucks, they're going to say it, and I'm going to say it. But we're not going to get mad at each other, and that's why the format that we have works.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of crazy. Like, I mean, just last year you ran the SCI. This year already you've ran Scenic City Rumble, Scenic City Invitational. And now you have trios in November, and then you're running 4 shows next year, and it's kind of insane just to like that growth, that level of growth. Like normal indies don't have that kind of growth, and then like you guys did it running 1 show a year.
Well, I think keeping things fresh and trying to do things that are actually unique is really the difference, because this isn't a knock at any other company. I mean, you know this as well as anybody. I travel all over the country to watch indie shows. So, but there's so many shows that do basically a variant of the dream match formula.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of those shows make a ton of money and make guys careers, but I think that there's only so many places that can do that. Not every place can be AEW. Not every place can be PWG, and not just for budget reasons. Just because at some point fans just get exhausted of it.
Yeah.
There's only a few places do it right, and then other places try and they don't succeed. I think what makes this the Scenic City event special is it's a showcase both for regional talent and local talent, but at a platform that gives them some sort of national and international buzz by putting them in there with guys like Matt Riddle or Jason Kincaid or Darby Allin, and now you're in a place where there's a next level opportunity, there's next level visibility, and it's a win-win for everyone. And at the same time, if you do that right, you can create stars here. I mean, by no means do I think Scenic City deserves credit for his success, but I do think that Anthony Henry shows that if you treat this like an event that can help make you and get you to the next level, it can help make you and get you to the next level, because I don't think it's a coincidence that he is where he is now after the runs he's had at the Scenic City events.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember like the big match that got a ton of buzz in 2015 was his match with Rave, and that got a ton of, I mean, that's what put him on my radar. And like I know, like I remember telling guys, I was like, this Anthony Henry guy is really good. And then like obviously last year he had the run all the way to the final, and getting to interact with guys like Leo Rush in the first round, and then like he had Chris Hero in the finals with all those Gunnar Miller, and then Jimmy Rave again, and like it's so good. And something I love about the Scenic City events is like, yes, it is a tournament, but you kind of need to know what's happening to the thing. Like there's overarching stories throughout the events, and I think you guys do that really well, because it's not like in your face, like this is a story we're trying to tell. It just kind of organically happens, and I think that's really cool.
That's what's special about it. We knew that we wanted simple stories. We knew we wanted something that people could pay attention to, and we started that with the first one that went to the second one. We've got some ideas and plans going forward. And this year it's the same. I think the big story this year is Tank, and his story tonight, tomorrow, whatever it may be. And then you have the story of Anthony Henry, you have the story of Joey Lynch, you have the story of Matt Riddle coming back.
Yep.
Is he going to get is he going to, there was an instance last year where he handed the trophy to Gunnar Miller. Mm-hmm. Are we going to see that? Maybe, maybe not. And you mentioned, I just want to touch on this real quick and not steer off base, but you mentioned the shows we're doing. The trio show in November, Scott and Dylan have full control over that. Mm-hmm. I have nothing, zero to do with it.
It's all my fault.
I help promote and book, and the Scenic City is my baby.
Yeah.
But they have as much say so as it than I do, as I do. And then we're going to Scenic City Showdown in January, at Ottawa High School. It's not going to go. We're not going above 4 shows a year.
Yeah.
That you go above 4 shows a year, and you risk losing the uniqueness of it, the specialness of it. You risk losing the experience, and that's what we sell.
Yep.
Yeah.
We want to sell good wrestling. We want to sell experience, and you guys saw it firsthand last night. At the hotel. There's nothing better, man. I mean, like WrestleMania has it, and nothing's gonna ever touch WrestleMania. But I dare say that anything is gonna touch what we do at least once a year.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like I was at WrestleMania in Orlando, and like this has a much more. It's like all the the brotherhood, the sisterhood of a WrestleMania, but it's so much more intimate because you don't have people spread all over, the horrific city of Orlando, Florida. Hated it. But
Worst traffic in the country.
yeah, don't talk about it. But anyways, it's just so cool to see like what you guys here are doing, because there wasn't a fan fest in 2015, but last year like just kind of happened because everybody was like, yeah, let's get together and go to the show, and then it happened again this year, and there's probably even more people here this year, and like it's going to continue to grow, and then again you have trios and you have Rumble, and I think it's so cool that it's created an event where like, yes, we're all coming for the wrestling, but everybody just has a good time nonstop, and like everybody's legit friendly. Like that's what they were talking. Like my friends were talking about yesterday. Cody and Winslow, Jonathan and Colt. They were all talking about like just how nice everybody was. They were like,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. Like when Josh he came to our table and shook hands with all 5 of us, and they were like, wow, that guy was like so nice, so cool. It's like, yeah, that's Josh. He's an awesome guy. Then like Ben came over to our table and he was super nice. Well, Ben might have been a little drunk, but Ben came to our table and he was super nice. But it's just how or like Papa, your brothers, or you, Dylan, and just like everybody has been so nice.
But I said this earlier. Isn't that what we were taught? In elementary
Yes,
school?
absolutely.
Like, treat people how you want
Want to be treated?
Yeah,
Yes, absolutely.
And I feel like it's my duty to. I'm not going to get around to everybody. I'm going to try, and I want to say thank you for coming. You guys are giving up your weekend to be here. It's the least that I can do to say thank you and find people and say, hey, thank you so much. Shake your hand. If there's anything that I can do, to make your time more enjoyable, just let me know. I may not can help in every way that you want, but I want to try.
How long did it take you guys to get here?
3 hours. We had a relatively short track.
No. That's not a short track. I mean, like seriously. These are wrestling shows. Like, I say this to everybody. To me, I define an out-of-towner for the purposes of an event like this as somebody who's coming more than an hour away, because that takes an investment. Like, you can go to the movie theater for $15, $20. That's 3 miles from your house.
Yeah.
Like, and do that. You can sit at home and watch, wrestling on YouTube or do whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're coming for more than an hour, that's an investment. 3 hours is a serious investment.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. That takes gas money. It takes the hotel tickets. It takes time. Like, the fact that you guys are willing to come 3 hours is a huge. That's why we're able to do shows that actually matter, because people are not. It's not. That's not a knock on the local fans. They're great, but the fact that you guys are willing to come 2-3 hours or longer. That is what makes this a special event. It's not just that we have great wrestling on the show.
Yeah.
Well, it's also why the ticket prices, they're never going to change.
Yeah.
If you change ticket prices and you up, then you're nickel and diming people, and then you're not. We want to keep it affordable.
Yeah.
We want to be enticing to people, and if we raise ticket prices, then maybe. That extra $30, $40 for gas isn't feasible. Maybe the extra $60, $70, $80 for a hotel room is not feasible.
Yeah.
And I'm just, we want to keep it like it is, but take steps to make it better.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that's kind of the weird, 3 hours sure is a long way. Keith Harris flew from the UK and landed in Atlanta, and then took a bus from Atlanta to Chattanooga to be here this weekend, and that's insane.
We have somebody coming from Brisbane, Australia.
Yeah,
and there's a guy, and I don't even know if I know who this is, who's flying from Toronto today. So.
That's wild. I mean, an international event,
Sure,
absolutely, and it's so cool to see what is evolved into over the years. Or you just
Hey.
He does talk.
Yeah.
well, it's so well.
These are his
Well,
first.
I mean, if you're gonna shut up, you may talk. I don't know.
This is his first wrestling event.
Yeah, this is kind of the thing. Like, I'm just behind the curtain a little bit. I never planned on bringing the podcast here. I was originally going to come here with Tyler, which is who you have met before.
Yeah.
And but then Cody asked me before we even started the podcast. He's like, because I was telling him about SCR and WrestleMania. Sure. He was like, I want to experience that. And then Cody came along, and then we added Colt, and then Wenzel, and then Jonathan. So like we fit 5 people in a Santa Fe. Drove up 3 hours.
Let me tell you something. Tonight, when I walk around at the end of the night and hand people little scraps of paper for the match of the night vote, I'm most interested to see what you guys vote for, and I am demanding that all of you people vote, because 4 of the 5 people that are in this room with myself and Josh right now have never been to a wrestling show. Is that correct?
Yep, never.
Okay. I'm very interested to see what you guys think is the match of the night, what you guys think of the show. I don't care what Tanner thinks anyway, but...
Yeah. I mean, Dylan's known me for 7 years, and has never once has taken an interest. So, I don't know why that would change now. So.
But, no, I'm really... In some ways, it's actually even cooler that you guys came than a lot of the other people, not to knock anybody else, just because they've never been to a wrestling show.
But what he just said is exactly why everyone likes his dad and his brothers more so than him.
That's true.
I mean, Papa's a lovable guy.
And Dylan and I are kind of the same, which is why no one likes me either. So we fit really well.
Well, I want to thank you guys so much for coming on. Like, I mean, just people don't realize the amount of time you guys have put in for this. And like, I don't think anybody understands. And now that it's not just one show, like it's 4 shows a year, and like that's a full-time job. Essentially, that's what we were talking about earlier.
I'll tell you now. I mean, I know we've gotten so close, the 3 of us. We all know like the personal things that are going on with all, and there's stuff going on that we help each other through it too.
Yeah.
My wife and I just had a baby 4 weeks ago. I mean,
congratulations.
Good grief.
Congrats.
I mean, like, thank you. It's just, there's all kinds of stuff going on, but like, we all have, girlfriends or wives. We're lucky in the fact that they don't hate wrestling.
Yeah, that they're all so cool
they
about
support it, and that they understand that this isn't a personal gain. We're helping our community.
Mm-hmm, sure.
And that's why I think it helps our personal lives that way too. But I'm going to kind of like steer this real quick. I want to take just a minute, and Dylan and I are going to ask a question each, since you guys have been asking all the questions.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Free-playing segment.
My
First
question
one.
is going to be, what match you guys are looking forward to the most on night 1?
I mean, I'll go first, I guess. I mean, I'm looking forward to Tank versus Matt Riddle again, because I know Tank has wanted this match. I know he talked about it last year. He wanted the match, and him winning the Scenic City Rumble, like him being able to request Matt Riddle, and potentially being his retirement match. He may lose, who knows, or he may win and win the whole SCI. I don't know.
You're trying to look at me.
Yeah, I'm looking right at
He's definitely Tanner's trying to read the
I'm trying to read
here.
the room. Oh my God, spit! But I'm trying to read the room a little bit. But I'm excited about that. I knew as soon as it got announced at SCR, I'm like, I have to come to SCI. I don't care if Josh and
Coming anyway.
well, this is my first one. Do you realize?
He wasn't here last year.
Yeah.
He wasn't here last year. Number 1 for Tanner.
Ooh, I can hear that. Yeah, that's crazy.
We're sharing a mic. We're getting really.
I'm done.
I'm gonna
What are you excited for?
I don't know anything. So I guess I'm excited for Tank and Matt Riddle. I mean, I saw both of them today, and I'm like, that's going to be interesting.
Like, I've had to explain the story, like, behind, like, certain matches, like Anthony Henry versus Gary J. I'm like, those guys just hit really damn hard. And
Well, you know what? Here's the story to that match. Night 1 SCI, first year, 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Henry lost, but he stole the show against Jimmy Raven. He sort of made his name. I mean, a lot of people, Gunnar Miller calls himself Mr. Scenic City, but to a lot of people,
Night 2 and Henry had with Joey Lynch.
That's saying bingo. Like a lot that first year, he was the person people talked about. Last year, I think a lot of people thought he was going to win the tournament when he got to the final. I think that was an assumption a lot of people made. So he's that situation. But on the other hand, Gary Jay's kind of in that Anthony Henry role from 2015,
Absolutely.
where he could steal the show with a performance tonight and perhaps win. Yeah. And I don't think that's out of the question when you look at what he's done as far as being a well-traveled performer. And I might add, I know this will be out after the event, obviously, but there's a reason that 6 of the 8 first-round matches are first-time matches.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that sells a unique quality to the shows that a lot of a lot of places don't do.
There's a lot of promotions that don't try to do unique matchups. I mean, if anybody else wants to get on the match you're looking forward to the most, if anybody,
everybody up, everybody up,
You want to get up?
line up.
I mean,
We knew it was eventually gonna happen. So one of the matches that we absolutely knew we were gonna do when we locked it down was we wanted to be the first ones to do Darby and Janela.
Yep.
So I mean that's one of the ones too. But you go ahead.
Is the Darby Janela match tonight?
Yes.
Oh. I'm actually looking forward to that match because I've heard some stuff about Darby from Tanner. Apparently, he's a little crazy in the ring. So I'm looking forward to that.
no,
You bring it to your face.
Okay.
We're a small podcast.
I mean, I don't know what to expect.
Jonathan came very last minute. He got sick.
That's. I almost like the clean slate idea better, but go ahead.
Yeah, and that's I want to try to go in as like without like as much outside influence as possible, just to try to take in the pure experience.
That's fair.
Here, give it to me.
Oh man, now we're getting greedy with the mic.
Hi everybody, I'm Cody. I'm here. Okay. So my big thing was I came in completely blind, and I was the one who initially Tanner was talking about SCI. We were sitting at lunch one day after class, super excited for SCI, and I was like, I want to go. I want to go experience that because I'm trying to experience new things, trying to see what's out there, trying to see if there's another, thing that I can latch on to, right? And I really didn't understand the significance of it until we had our interview with. I didn't understand.
How does it feel now, Cody?
I know. I didn't understand the significance of it until until the interview with Tank today, and seeing him almost cry was like, this is not just.
Don't out Tank like that.
He said it on the podcast. It's fine. One of the things that I really enjoyed was not seeing him cry, but seeing him so emotional about it, and seeing how this is not just something that happens on a weekend. This is something that he's been building up to. This is his life. And I thought that was really interesting. And I'm really excited to see that tonight.
Yeah, last night whenever we were at that little karaoke thing, everybody looked at me and we were all like, it's overwhelming and stuff. And I guess what was overwhelming about it was like the passion, I guess, and the friendliness of the atmosphere, which is crazy because like you don't get that in a lot of places. And it's just weird thinking like, what? No. Like, it's just weird thinking that, like, how can I become overwhelmed with kindness when, like you said, that's how everybody should treat each other, which shows, like, where we come from, that's rare in a weird sense.
Well, I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
That's great to hear. And I'm gonna take my chance, and I know we have to wind down here pretty quick, but I'm gonna take my chance to ask the one question that Josh decided that we were going to ask you guys. What do I have to do to get all 5 of you back on November the 18th for Scenic City Trios? I know it's the holiday season, borderline the holiday season.
He's a shilling son of a bitch.
But what do I have to do to get you guys back? What would you guys potentially see this weekend that would make you want to come back?
Well, we've already actually talked about this. We probably will. We might be able to come back.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I got to graduate, and I graduate in December.
Graduates in December.
And Tanner's got some things going on. Outside of that,
it's in the realm of possibility.
we're probably gonna pack up and come on up here again.
Yep.
It's a one-day event. I'm taking it easy on you guys. You got to make it.
We've got some great buildings that we've ran. This building is awesome. It's like a community college. Soddy Daisy High School, similar. Hickson High School is older than either one of these, but it's going to be, I'm not kidding, it'll be the best building for wrestling.
Not
that
even
we've ran.
close. It's so loud in there that right now, this is not an exaggeration because I've been in there recently, like a month ago maybe. If the people in this room, the 6 of us or 7 or however many there are, we're in that room right now having this conversation, which is, we're talking a little loud, but we're not yelling. It would sound like there was like 100,000 people at Legion Field or something. Like it's that loud in that building. So if you want a like crazy live experience, I mean, we're going to offer it for you for the next 2 days, but that is going to be insane too. So
Okay.
I have two questions though. What's your favorite cheesecake?
I'm not a huge cheesecake fan. However, pumpkin cheesecake is probably my favorite.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And my other question is, do you actually like cheesecake or no?
Tanner? I love cheesecake.
Oh, okay. Okay. Josh, I knew it. So, what is your favorite cheesecake?
I like Oreo or blueberry.
Oh shit. Blueberry. Blueberry is good, but Oreo is really good. Yeah.
But
Okay.
listen, Tanner's still an asshole.
Am I? No. It's so cool. Talking about what you'd have to do to sell us and get the trios. As long as somebody drives me, I can't drive to Chattanooga. I'm a horrific driver. As long as somebody drives me, I'll be here. But
Horrific driver. I don't even drive.
yeah, that's true. Dylan doesn't drive, and so that's fun. But
You can always ride with Frey.
I don't know if I can do that again. I have a lot happening right now. I want to thank you guys so much yet again for just coming on the show. Like, again, I know it's super busy. I was a little hesitant to ask you to even come on, just because I'm like, I know they're gonna be super busy, but I'm like, I'd kick myself if I didn't ask.
Shut up, man. Listen. I've told them Scott and Dylan handle this stuff much better, and I know we're wrapping up. Scott and Dylan handle this stuff much better than I do. They're much better about explaining things. I know what I have in my head, and I know what I want to have happen. I don't like talking about it because I just don't explain things well. But thank you guys for coming. It does truly mean a lot to me. Thank you guys for asking us to do this. It is flattering when we get asked this stuff. Anytime that you guys want to have us on, just ask, and we'll work a schedule around it. We'll do it like we did today.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the locker room.
I told you just come by and we'll work it out, and we worked it out.
Yep.
And it's because if you guys are going to go for your time to come here and spend the weekend, it's the least we can do to take 15 minutes to spend with you guys.
I mean, I appreciate more in the world. Like, I've known Dylan for 7 years. Josh, I didn't meet you till SCR. I don't believe, because that was my first Scenic City event. So that would have had to been the first time I met you. But I mean, you've just been a great person that's going to play green light for the pre-show tonight and tomorrow. So I'm very excited for that. But plug anything you want, both of you.
Well, by the time I don't know exactly when this comes out.
This goes out on the 7th, the day Monday.
Relatively soon, the Scenic City Invitational Tournament 2017 will be available to view online in some capacity. It's taken care of. Yeah. Well, I mean, look. It's going to be on powerbomb.tv, but I was trying to be nice. Anyway, so that'll be. It's not going to be out by the time this was released, but look for it probably a couple weeks after, maybe even a week after if we're lucky.
Yeah.
The edit time works. And then Scenic City Trios is November the 18th.
Sunday before Thanksgiving.
Saturday before Thanksgiving.
I meant Saturday.
And that's one night, not 2 nights, like SCI is. 8-team single elimination tournament. We will have at least one, probably just one bonus match on the card as well. So Hickson High School, everybody should come to that too. No excuses. I'm staring directly into your heart and soul.
Yeah, me and Dylan are having a very intense day right now.
Please check that out. And everybody follow us on Twitter at SCI Tournament, because even though obviously the SCI tournament itself is only once a year, 2-day event, we are going to be running 4 shows basically starting now. I mean, effectively, as of now, we're running 4 shows a year. So we'll always have something going on there. So please check us out.
Awesome. Thank you again.
Yeah.
Thank
Josh, anything you want to add? All right.
He's yelling thank you from across the room.
All right. Thank you. And you can. What's up, everybody? Tanner back. Another segment, All You Can Hear podcast, SCI Weekend. I'm joined with one of my co-hosts as usual, Wenzel.
I'm hungry again.
Yeah, we're very hungry. But I'm also here, CWF, Mid-Atlantic, commentator. I almost called you ring announcer. I don't know why. Cecil Miller.
Well, yeah, that's the real name. Gimmick name Cecil Scott. So whatever you want to call me.
Well, I mean, I've
Yeah.
just, you know.
Are we shooting here?
Yeah, we can shoot.
Okay.
Whatever. You can call me whatever.
We can have gimmick names.
Sure. I mean, if you want to. And I like commentating for SCI tournament, and like we're one night down. How's your voice feeling? I know you said your throat was drying up a little bit.
Oh,
so.
yeah, because I've not stopped talking. I'm kind of hyper this morning.
Yeah.
So I'm afraid I just keep talking and my voice will dry up. Mm-hmm. Voice held up great, though. Commentary was awesome last night, actually.
And it's you, Stutzy, and
Dan the Dragon Wilson.
Yeah,
Not Don the Dragon Wilson, the greatest martial arts actor of all time. But
Wow.
no, it's Dan, not Don.
No, okay.
Great.
I'm glad we got that figured out.
Great guy, though. Great guy. Super professional.
Yeah. Now, y'all doing, I know last year for the tournament, they had 4 announcers total, and they just kept switching. Are y'all doing just a 3-man booth, or are y'all switching back and forth?
A little bit back and forth. We originally wanted to do kind of like just a revolving door kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
but we toyed with the idea of doing a 3-man booth, and it actually worked way better than we thought it would.
Yeah.
So you might see a lot more 3-man booth on tonight's show. I think for the final match, you'll definitely see 3-man booth.
Yeah. Awesome. And you may hear the door knock. We have multiple people coming in.
Who is it?
Let's see whose special guest is. That's Kerry Awful.
Kerry
over
Awful,
here.
one of my favorite dudes, actually.
We'll be talking to the Carnies in just a little bit. But I just want to ask you, like, so what made you get into commentary? Like, why? What made you go, like, you know what? I want to be a commentator. Because I know you wrestled a little bit too.
Right. I wrestled for 10 years, actually. It's one of those things, before we were doing the worldwide show, CWF Worldwide, we would still put our shows up on YouTube and stuff like that, just the full events.
Yeah.
And I was still active, but we needed some commentary on these shows, so I was kind of doing the old CM Punk thing, doing both. Mm-hmm. And I ended up getting a couple of major injuries, things like that with wrestling, and just really slowing down. And anybody that's seen me do both will tell you I'm way better in the booth than I was in the ring. So it just kind of evolved from there, and it was, to be honest, it was actually kind of a tough transition for me at first because I still kind of had that wrestler mentality. I wanted to be in the ring, and actually, it's funny, I've got Grant here, and I would always tell him that it felt almost like a demotion at first.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to be in the ring. And it just turned out that I was just so much better as an announcer and as a commentator that it just kind of took on a life of its own. And then when the worldwide thing started, I started getting a lot more notice, a lot more notoriety. And to be honest, I've made more money as an announcer than I ever made as a wrestler.
Yeah. So, I mean, and what's great, you don't bump near as often now. So,
yeah.
You get to protect your body a little bit.
I bumped way too much in my active career looking back on it, actually.
What was your worst injury?
I fractured my ankle in a match. I also had a concussion once, but the ankle was probably the first one. Yeah.
Dang.
This was after I landed directly on my head and couldn't move for 30 seconds. I got up and we did the finish, and I managed to break my ankle in the finish. So
wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's like when that reminds me of like when Vince tried to get in the ring in the Rumble.
Blew his quads out.
Blew both his quads, just getting into the ring, and he goes, "Fuck, ball." Yeah, great stuff. But this isn't just me kissing ass or whatever. But I honestly think you and Stutzy. Well, I mean, sure, but I honestly think you and Stutzy are the best announced team going today. And
me too.
I just want to know, like, is there any like inspirations, like, because I mean, it's probably a hard transition just to go from being in the ring and cutting a promo to like having to know all these guys, and like, is there anybody you look at and you're like, okay, I want not mimic so much, but like, if I could be like him, that would be cool.
I actually take a lot of inspiration from a lot of different announcers, and people are surprised that there's only one wrestling announcer I look at, and that's Jesse Ventura.
Yeah.
Because he would always try to make everything feel like a shoot with the way he was calling it. But I look at Jim Lampley, the boxing announcer. I look at a guy by the name of Mark Followell. He's the Dallas Mavericks play-by-play man on Fox Sports.
So you're doing like extensive.
Yeah,
study.
like there are guys that I just take little bits and pieces from. I used to take a little bit from Mauro Ranallo's boxing commentary, things like that. So I just try to take things from everybody and see what works.
Yeah, I mean,
we got a question.
Are you raising your hand?
Yeah, bitch.
I thought I was a lot more inviting than that. You could just put in.
No, was there ever? Yeah. Was there ever something that you wanted to say but you're like probably shouldn't say it?
Usually, anytime I want to say the F word, it's kind of a little joke. I mean, I don't do it often, but sometimes I'll drop a swear word on commentary, and we try to run a PG show. Mm-hmm. But if something like nuts happens, I will definitely swear. I get caught up in the moment, but sometimes you want to drop like a little bit too much inside knowledge, or play up an inside joke that we have in the locker room or whatever, and I have to remember, nobody's going to get this, and it's going to sound stupid, so I don't do it. Sometimes I still do, but
yeah. I know sometimes, especially for like Trevor Lee title defenses, you like the Chip Day one really sticks in my mind, and how you compared it to like 90s All Japan.
Right.
At one point, you're the Kings Road style, and I appreciate that from a fan, but like I'm wondering like how often. Like, do you refrain from doing that sometimes? Because, I mean, obviously everybody that watches CWF Mid-Atlantic doesn't know what Kings Road style is. So do you try to refrain, or is that just something to do like all for all of my hardcores out there?
It's a little of both, actually. Like, sometimes, I want to pop the people on Twitter sometimes just because, you guys are watching
That's really
it.
what wrestling's all about.
But also I want people to, like, maybe watch something and be like, oh, I want to see what he's talking about. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a couple of fans who be like, okay, I heard you mention this guy. What can I watch of him, or like what can I learn from this person? And I always wanted to like not be kind of pandering though, because some people just like, oh, shades of so and so, just so they can act like they know somebody.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that. I want to explain to you why it reminds me of this person or why it reminds me of this style.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, I like you and Stutzy click so much together, and like I mean I haven't watched like all the first worldwides or anything, but I mean caught up now. How long did it take for like you and Stutzy to really start clicking and like you were like, okay, we really have something here?
I mean, we always kind of had a little chemistry. I mean, we didn't become the full-time announce team really until we started doing the TV show.
Yeah.
I mean, we would do a little bit on stuff before that, but before him, I would normally do commentary with Amber Gertner. Mm-hmm. If you don't know her, she's Joel Gertner's ex-wife. Usually works for Shine, Shimmer, places like that. Me and Stutzy, we always had a little chemistry, but it kind of just worked itself out over time. Mm-hmm. Mostly just working each other's timing and figuring out, what each other likes to do. And when I first started, I was trying to do the whole heel commentator thing.
Yeah.
And that involved, like, if you go watch a show from 2013, I sound completely different in my presentation. It is just mostly figuring out each other's ticks and what we like to say and how we like to say it and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, again, you guys are in your stride. And it makes sense because, like, I think CWF Mid-Atlantic right now is really hitting its stride, and, like, it gets a lot of Twitter buzz, and you have the Trevor Lee title reign that's been going on for a year and a half almost.
Yeah, it's coming up on, 500 or so days?
Yeah, 500 days, yeah. That's insanity. But I want to know, since you've been in the booth, and it can be recent, it can be older memory, what's been your favorite thing to call in the booth?
In the booth was probably the Trevor Lee Roy Wilkins match, with a 105-minute match.
Yeah.
Just from a raw emotional standpoint, where I myself felt spent after calling it.
Yeah.
I would have to think a lot harder to find one that maybe I felt the same way about. Some of the Trevor Lee Chet Sterling tag team title defenses I felt really strongly about, but that one match that has felt just so emotional about it, getting into it, because they took the fans for a ride, and me and Stutzy were on a ride calling it, and there's just so much going on. I think that was my strongest work.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it went an hour, 45 minutes. Like from a fan perspective, I felt spent after watching. It's like watching a movie,
right?
Like with so much. There's like clear story arcs, like within the match itself, and like the resolution, the climax, everything like that. And like I can't fathom having to be just like mentally there to be calling, like, because when I watch wrestling I like kind of zone out just into the match. Like I couldn't imagine having to be like, okay, yes, I have to watch this match, I have to pay attention, but I also have to make this entertaining to the audience, and like I can't fathom that.
I had a lot of people, man. I think that was the first time people really started putting over me and Stutzy as a commentary team, because obviously there were a lot of fans that had never watched this before because they heard, oh my God, there's a 105-minute match. I got to see it. And I'd say 90% of the new people watching it put over the fact that, okay, I feel like I know everything because of the commentary.
Yeah.
And that was such a huge compliment. It really made me feel like we did our job, extremely well in that match.
Yeah. No, I mean, absolutely. I agree 100%. Yeah. So, Wenzel, if you
I have one final question.
Wenzel has a bit he's been doing with
it's a bit.
Okay. It's a bit of a bit.
Yeah, but you have to answer it seriously. Okay. What is your favorite cheesecake?
Like from here or just in general?
In general.
In general.
There's a place where I live called the Cherry Pit Cafe, and they have a key lime cheesecake. And I think that's the best one I've ever eaten. It's like a combination of a cheesecake and a key lime pie, and it's incredible.
Hot.
Yes, it is.
I'm not a big key lime pie guy, so I don't
Let's talk about your cheesecake habits.
We can
Tanner.
talk about my cheesecake.
Actually, can we banter a little bit about some of your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely.
On food.
Yeah, absolutely. Hit me.
Do you think pizza is a sandwich?
No, pizza's not a sandwich. No, it's not. What on my Twitter have you ever seen where I don't think hot dogs are sandwiches? What makes you think I would think a pizza's a sandwich?
I don't know where you stood on that. Do
people think pizza's a sandwich?
Yeah, I've heard it. Your boy Vic, he thinks pizza's a sandwich.
Well, that's fucking stupid. So
where do you stand on sugar and grits?
Okay. Oh shit! We actually talked about that today. I've never
because I've got heat with John Filipavage right now.
I've never had it. I've never tried it.
Okay, Cody's in the house.
Yeah,
I love sugar and grits. My mom, that was one of the first things that she like. Whenever I was growing up, sugar and grits was really good. But I also eat them with butter and salt.
Yeah, that's
butter and sugar, butter and salt, depending on what your mood is. You want sweet, you want savory. Choose your.
I'm a butter and salt grit guy.
Me too.
Yeah, so.
I've always been curious, like, how much of this is a gimmick with you and the food?
My food. So sometimes I take it to
because like that's like what you're known for better or worse.
Yeah, and it's kind of, and it totally happened on accident. Like when I post my Curious Cat, most of the time my questions, my Curious Cat are like, "So is this a gimmick?" Somebody asked me like last week. They were like, if you don't eat a piece of plain cheesecake at SCI, is that going to ruin your brand? I'm like. and it's so weird because I've been on Twitter for fucking ever. I feel like an old man on Twitter, even though I got on Twitter when I was 13 for the first time, and I've been on Twitter for over a third of my life. So if you want to know how cringy some of those early tweets are, they're very cringy, but a lot of them are gone. So don't even go looking for them. Some of it I like to push the gamut and see what I can get away with it. Sometimes, I'll post shit like chocolate ice cream's the horse shit, dog shit. Nobody should eat it. Everybody that eats chocolate ice cream's a moron because it's awful.
Well, I mean, it isn't that good.
I mean, chocolate ice cream's very overrated. Don't get me wrong.
It is much better.
And vanilla is much better. But I like posting stuff like that. Or I'm like, mint chocolate chip ice cream. It's trash. Don't ever eat it.
It is trash.
No, this is a daily occurrence.
Tanner, you bitch.
My friends like to, but like the hot dog isn't a sandwich thing. 110% believe that. I've had arguments with family members about that.
His grandfather and grandmother.
Yeah.
What are your feelings on zebra gum?
I don't chew gum anymore because it hurt my dog. although, hold on, I can tell you about zebra gum.
We've run off Kerry Awful
here.
Yeah,
we ran off the Carnies here. But
I heard that you thought the red velvet cheesecake was too hot. Too spicy for you.
I've never had the red velvet cheesecake.
Man, that's what I heard.
Okay, I'm about to let you guys in on my master plan here.
Okay.
Here was my master plan before everything went to shit last night. I expected us to eat in the conference room last night just because I thought everybody was going to eat in the cafe. I thought they were going to move us to the conference room. I was going to make a big deal. I was going to order a piece of plain cheesecake, work it up. Because fucking Mecca gives me more shit about it than almost anybody besides Nick Iggy over there. And he always gets a bite of it. Nobody would have cared unless...
Because I'm pretty sure it's delicious.
It is.
We've come to terms.
Yeah.
I've come to terms.
But, Becca doesn't even call me Tanner. I don't know if he knows my name's Tanner. He literally just calls me Cheesecake.
Yeah, because, that's the only thing he can bury you with right now. So.
Like yesterday when he was fucking shirtless in the Heritage Room, he just points at me and goes...
No, he's just no dice.
I thought he was going to say something, and he didn't. He just went away.
I'm gonna be real with you. Like coming in this weekend, I'm like, man, I'm gonna stick up for my boy. I'm gonna get some plain cheesecake, and then I look at the menu, I'm like, how the hell could you get plain cheesecake off of this
But
menu?
no, going back to my master plan, I was going to be such a heel. I was going to order my plain cheesecake, and then tonight, again, thinking we would eat in the conference room, and I may still be able to do it. I was going to order a non-plain piece of cheesecake, like a blueberry cheesecake or something, and redeem. And like I was like, oh my god, baby face.
Your face turn,
yeah, my face turns like, oh my god, so great. So that was my master plan.
Did it happen?
Well, I mean, we didn't eat in
the night is young, right?
I mean, it's what 1:00 right now. I mean, it can still happen,
give or take. Yeah.
I still have. Apparently, I'm getting caked in a couple of hours.
Like physically, like dunked in cake, or
not dumped or dunked,
or like face. You
like,
getting a cake facial?
Like cake facial, yeah.
Oh my.
We're not really sure. Papa Hales is pulling this together.
Yeah, Papa Hales.
Are you supposed to know about it?
Yeah.
Yes. No, Papa Hales messaged me about 2 weeks ago and was like, hey, you want to get... Because Papa Hales gives me shit about plain cheesecake, too. And
he gave me hell about it. That's why I didn't get it.
And he messaged me and was like, oh, yeah, let me... Do you need something, Kerry?
Yeah, I'm going to go fucking pee some of this beer out.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
But,
Kerry Offless had a lot of beer this
yeah,
weekend.
no, I'm very much aware. And one of the things... Oh, my God. Oh, no, he messaged me and it was like, hey, do you want to get cake in the face at SCI? I thought he was just, fucking, like, giving me shit.
Yeah.
I thought he was giving me shit. And I was like, sure. And then he puts out his SCI, like, fan fest thing. And then I see 4 p.m. on Saturday, Tanner gets cheesecake in face. And I go... Oh
yeah, this is happening.
Yeah, it's happening. And then he made it to the fact he was like so people can donate $1 to the Super Cake Foundation and get a chance to cake Tanner. 3 people are apparently caking me.
Nice.
So I don't know how that's happening.
I put $10 down on it. Actually,
I don't know where it's happening. So I'm very interested. And then I've also had people come up to me and was like, if I just buy my own piece of cake, can I just throw it in your face? I'm like, sure, that can happen. So yeah. But I mean, if that's everything everybody's got.
Yeah, like you answered all of my questions.
Yeah, and you answered all ours.
I like how you could just hear Kerry just pissing
in the background.
Like you could hear it's real loud.
It's awesome.
Nice.
No, I'm very excited.
It's a great background drop.
Well, to be fair, there's a disclaimer because Kerry did say I want to go piss some of this beer out, so it does work out very well.
Yeah, and his name's not Kerry Pretty Nice or anything like that.
Yeah, it is Kerry fucking atrociously awful. That's his middle name.
Great guy though.
Yeah, great guy. Solid
great
the earth.
guy. Super nice guy.
Yeah, solid the earth.
But
Cecil, if you got any plugs for me?
Yes, CWF Worldwide, Avi, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, the true time zone. Wednesday night. You can watch it on demand anytime. It's totally free. If you've never watched us, imagine if the old NWA territory grew up with modern athletes, kept telling the same great storytelling, but you get great athletes. Probably the best title reign in wrestling right now with Trevor Lee.
I would agree with that.
Amazing stuff. And that's my big plug because that's the one that puts me on TV. Obviously, get the download for Scenic City Invitational when it comes out. Night 1 was incredible. Great stuff. You see Tank's final match against Matt Riddle. Awesome match with Darby Allin and Joey Janela.
Yep.
Great commentary. Fun time.
Yeah.
Yeah, just support wrestling, man.
Yeah, just support wrestling. Just support the people that support wrestling. Like, I mean, a lot of people, like, you see, like, the obviously the wrestlers get a lot of buzz, but, like, it's not a full show without commentators or ring announcers or refs or anything else. So, like,
that's why it's called a production.
Yeah, it's a production, and like a lot of people don't. And Nick Iggy's over here dancing. He's ready to go. Give him the green light. So
he was twerking last night. And one last thing, if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at Cecil_Miller.
Yep.
That is my shoot name, but it's my Twitter handle. And that's it.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Cecil, and thank you for coming on.
My pleasure.
All right, what's up, guys? Another segment. It's me, and with me for this segment, I have the Carnies, Kerry Awful, Nick Iggy. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic. Real tired.
I mean, you guys look. I mean,
I'm so tired.
Being as nice as possible, you guys kind of look like shit. So.
Oh, dude, yeah. I can never. Maybe worse than usual, but not like shit.
Like you're at 98% adorableness right now.
I'm okay with that.
Okay. We crashed with her ex over at his room. Like, I didn't realize we were only like 2 or 3 rooms down from y'all.
Yeah, me neither.
Him and Brandon, and they gave me a pillow. So like at one point last night, one of the AIW kids was like, "Oh man, I think we have an extra bed open." So I was like in my underwear. I grabbed all my clothes and I was like, I don't want to get dressed just to go down the hall. So at like maybe 3 or 4 in the morning, I was like walking down to things like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to this room and go to bed," just in my underwear, like dick hanging out. Can I say that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And well, we got there, and then there was like 12 people in the room. I was like, I'm gonna go back. And I
and then he
slept under
comes
the
back
sink.
and the blanket and pillow he had, I took it
So he could
because
double up.
yeah, there were only 2 people in the room, and I was on the ground, so I was like, So he screwed himself out of that
Wow.
one.
And I came over and said, "Give me that."
He took 1 pillow.
I did.
Wow.
What did I have? 1.
The pillow the hotel gave me is actually just a bag with 2 blankets in it.
Really?
I was like, "Can I have a spare pillow?" They're like, "Sure." And the lady hands me this. This is on Thursday. She hands me, and it's literally a bag that says "spare pillow / blankets," and there was no pillow in it. It was just 2 blankets. And she was like, "Here you go." I was
Did you say anything?
No, it's very comfortable. I was just very surprised. I can sleep in most, like I could fall asleep on any surface in this hotel room. I have fell asleep laying, like,
floating in
floating in water before.
No, I'm saying like
some people call that narcolepsy.
Underwater.
Yeah, underwater. Can you
No.
sleep underwater? Okay. Well, you said anywhere.
If you want Nick to go to sleep, it's almost like a Pavlov's like dog trick. Just talk comic books and he'll instantly pass out. Like I do it all the time driving. Like if Nick's ever like a lot, I'm like, oh, someone's cranky, and I'll put on like one of my nerdy like things I follow on YouTube, one of the content channels I follow.
Yeah.
And Nick's like, oh, okay.
And I love it because I'm like, I can't get in trouble for this. Carrie knows I'm going to go to sleep.
Yeah.
He's not going to be mad.
It's a very much a give and take relationship.
Yeah. And I'm like, Carrie, don't put on one of those stupid comic book podcasts. He goes, well, I'm going to do it to spite you. And I'm like, good.
Nick's already putting down his like little eye shades. He's like, I'm about to go to fucking sleep. So that's one thing I want to ask you about, because I mean it's something like even I don't know about. What is it like traveling as much as you guys do? Because you guys are in the car together, a lot. Like
pretty much Friday, Saturday, Sunday at least.
I feel like you guys should hate each other.
There are times like once in a while, like
we get in scuffles.
What, 5 or 6 years now?
5, I want to say.
We've been a tag team for 5 years, and like it's different when you're just like wrestling at home and you're going to like 1 or 2 shows and you can like drive separately. But like for me and Nick, and he lives 3 hours away from me now.
Yeah.
So every weekend he drives to me or I drive to him, and then we like make loops, and it's like you really get to know somebody.
Oh,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean? Like I don't know. You're much younger than I am, but like the old Road Rules original one on MTV where they were in like the Winnebago, cramped, and you're like, oh, they're all talking with each other. No wonder they hate each other, blah blah blah. Or no wonder they get along. And it's a lot like that because it's like a different city every time, and it's crazy. And sometimes we get on each other's nerves. And then there are times where like Nick and I it takes a lot to get me like angry in real life outside of a wrestling ring, like outside of like certain things in wrestling that are like triggers for me to get mad that people do that are disrespectful. But like it's even more so because I'm a pretty passive guy. But like Nick and I will get in fights sometimes, but we both are like, oh no, let's pump the brakes. Like we'll be away from each other for like the next 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You go over there, I'll go over here.
Yeah.
We'll
you have to
come
get in
back.
your corners.
Yeah, basically, because we know if we keep going, it's not going to solve anything.
Yeah.
No.
I feel like that's a lot for a lot of people. Some people just want to yell at each other. It's like let calmer heads prevail.
Yeah.
Dude, and we see it too. Like we'll hear other guys on trips who are just like making rounds, not even tag teams, but just like dudes who always ride together, get like have falling outs or get on Twitter or the internet and just like kind of express that. Mm-hmm. And I think that's like real dumb and shitty.
Because when you see him, you're like, oh man, like it makes you think differently in a way.
Yeah.
And we don't want to provide that negativity to any locker room or to any sort of person.
Yeah.
So we're like,
absolutely.
Hey, we're yelling, like we're making a scene. Let's not do that.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird, especially from like, I mean, you guys independent wrestlers, obviously, so you guys are like, you know, your own entity, but like also when you're going into another promotion, it's like you're kind of like, again, like if you guys were arguing or screaming or something, like kind of ruining like everybody else's vibes in the room, and like I feel like if there's bad vibes on the show, it doesn't make for a good show necessarily.
Not at all.
So I feel like that's a very, you know, cool, calm, and collected way to look at it, It's just, get in your corners. And like, a lot of people be like, well, that sounds very elementary. But it's what you got to do. I mean, it's what everybody should do, is just like, okay, we need a few minutes.
Yeah.
Let's just calm down.
It's like a marriage.
Yeah.
Like, in a marriage, you're not always going to get along with your significant other. You're going to have disagreements. Hey, Dom.
Hey, Dom.
You're going to have disagreements.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to find a way to calm it down.
Yeah.
And for me and Kerry, that's how we calm it down. But no matter if we get angry at each other or anything, like, we still love each other.
Yeah.
We're still best friends. We're still a tag team. Like, it's cool.
Yeah, that's how you got to do it. Well, one thing I want to ask is, you guys were Team IOU for a few years, and now you're the Carnies, and like, I just want to know, like, because I know, like, you guys were known also as the Carnies. Like, even on my, like, old bracelet, it says the Carnies, Team IOU, because I know you guys were collectively known as the Carnies with, like, Tripp and Priscilla and stuff. But what made you guys go, like, you know what, we need to drop the IOU branding, let's just go full-on commit to the Carnies?
I think the Team IOU thing, it was a funny thing between us because we used to feud. He'd do, like, oh, and I'd be like, it's not oh, it's I. I.
Yeah.
Point at each other. You know.
We call it the duck season, rabbit season,
Yeah.
where we used to feud like 4 or 5 years, no, 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah. And it was like funny between us. We're like, hey, let's be Team IOU because the Nashville scene understood what it meant. Like, they knew IOU. And then eventually people were like, well, it's IOU. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. The more we traveled and went everywhere, people were like, I don't get it. And we did that for a while, even when people were saying they don't get it. And everyone's like, oh, they're just Southern Carnies. Like, we shouldn't bring them in. They don't know how to work. They're just going to try to take our money. So we're like, well, let's kind of own that. Let's be the Carnies Team IOU and try to start shying away from IOU.
And we went to a company that, like, did tryouts and stuff. And when they saw us wrestle, like, one of their big things were like, when we see you, we don't see Team IOU. Like, we get why you're called that and all this other stuff, but when we look at you, you're the Carnies. And they were like, you need to change to that nationally, and just do it. So we talked to Dave and Jake Christ, or Dave Christ mostly, because they did the same thing, going from Irish Airborne to OI4K, and now they're doing it again, going into OVE. And they gave us a lot of cool insight on it and, like, really helped it. And since we changed it, I mean, we make a lot more money now, and we're booked a lot more places, and everybody says it makes a lot more sense. And so that was, like, a big part of it, I think. And then when we saw, like, the direct, the financial impact on our households,
you're like, fuck, why haven't we been doing this forever?
Yeah, I mean, it was like day and night. Everybody was like, a lot of people say, I don't remember when you changed, but it just feels like overnight it was two completely different acts. Like, it was two completely different teams because we overhauled a lot.
Yeah, I mean, like, your gear changed, and like, you had the new mask, and Nick's rocking that top hat.
Yeah, which he hated at first.
Yeah, I was like, because we were doing the boy and his dog, and the boy was so gimmicky, and I let the boy control me, and I'm like, we're gonna get stuck in a corner again with this. Like, I don't want to wear a top hat. I don't want to be another gimmick. But then I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna let this own me. I'm gonna own this. Like, I'm professional enough. I know what I'm doing. I can own this, and it's been the most fun I've had.
And you got that sweet jacket that looks like Edge.
Oh, it's so cool. It's comfy. Like, Kerry loves blasting the AC in the car, and I'd rather be warm. So he's got it. I'll just take it from the back and use it as a blanket.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That multi-purpose.
Yeah,
like,
right?
You couldn't do this unless you were the Carnies. I feel like, because you guys worked the first live show I ever went New South, or first live India I ever went to, and there was New South last year. And I feel like, and like, I'd known Kerry a little bit. That was the first time I met you, though, Nick. And I feel like, I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but I feel like we have, like, a closer relationship than some people. So I want to know, like, what does that mean to you? Like, you, like, living in an age, because I was trying to explain to them yesterday. I was like, what's, even up to a few years ago, like, or still, like, a lot of wrestlers look down on certain wrestlers, like, being friends with, fans or things like that. I just wonder, like, what do you guys, like, see that as? Like, do you guys see it as, like, oh, like, if they're cool guys, they're cool guys, whatever, or like, and like, obviously you guys know how to use social media very well, so.
Let me on this one. So, I grew up a giant wrestling fan, a quote unquote smart fan, whatever, since I was like 9 years old.
Yeah.
I used to go on old 56K dial-up modems on AOL when it first came out on those free discs and stuff like that. And I would like go to the GeoCities or Angel Fire websites or Tripod websites and go to these are wrestlers' screen names, and I'd go down the list and try to talk to them. And I always thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
When you get into wrestling, they try to tell you marks are dumb. Like one of the old adages is when you are wrestling, you're supposed to keep yourself to a certain level.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, the ring's high up above the fans because they're supposed to look up to you, and it's all symbolic and shit. But to be honest, hey man, it's the 21st century still.
Were you about to say 24th?
I was gonna say 22nd for a second.
Wow.
It's not the Jetsons.
Not yet. But
dude, do you think Brad Pitt or maybe Tom Cruise would, or Will Smith, or even extras in a movie are gonna be like, oh, I'm a movie star, I'm above them, they're idiots? No, that'd make that person an asshole. And to me, I'm a big nerd.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think we could count the DMs that I've sent you, being like, "Hey man, what do you know about this string of matches?
Yeah.
Could you help me find this? What did you think about this?" And things like that. And to me, I would never want to be the guy that is like that, because it's wrestling, for Christ's sake. I'm gonna be out there in my underwear, essentially, beating people up. And then expect to come to the back and act like I'm some, I don't know, Hills Have Eyes monster. It's stupid. I have some of my best friends are people I've met through wrestling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to me, the mentality of no, we can't do that. Back when I was a punk rock kid, I would go see bands and I would think that they were huge deals because they were so important in my eyes. And then you meet them, and they're just normal dudes, and you go to Chipotle or Qdoba, and you become friends with them, and you're like, it's really...
Or Moe's.
Yeah.
I'm a Moe's.
I love how you had to get that in there. I'm a Chipotle guy.
Chipotle's delicious.
Not that I don't like Chipotle. Sorry, keep going.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. I agree. And it's being a decent human being. Someone comes up to you and maybe they look up to you, they see you as something if they're going to spend their money to see you, so be nice to them, talk to them, make that experience as full as it could be.
Yeah.
Because if you come up and you try talking to me and I'm just like, yeah, buy a t-shirt. No, that's
even
stupid.
Even yesterday, I was looking for somewhere to crash on someone's floor, and 12 people are like, we got you, we got you, we got you, we got you. You know, and that's cool, real life stuff. I think SCI is really cool about that, because everybody gets along with everybody. I mean, last night included, this morning included. I'm sure tonight's going to be just as wild.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I just think it's fucking lame when guys do the opposite of that to me.
Yeah.
With SCI, I was thinking about it, it's kind of like a summer camp in a way.
Yeah.
Where there's all these activities every hour or something.
And it's very
with
sweaty.
Different people.
Yeah.
Very sweaty. Maybe not the hungover part, depending what camp you go to.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I like those flamingos on your shorts, by the way.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. Sorry.
We're a very tropical pair. I mean, I bought my Hawaii clothes. I've never been to Hawaii though. So
I have a shirt with palm trees on it that I haven't changed into yet, but
awesome.
It's gonna come.
Yeah, I'm the one. It's me, Wenzel again. I'm the one with flamingo shorts. Tanner's wearing a toucan shirt.
Yeah, I have toucans on my shirt.
Is that Toucan Sam?
Yep, Toucan Sam.
I actually have a shirt back there with toucans on it as well, and pineapples.
Okay, I like the pineapples. I'm a pineapple guy.
Delicious.
Wenzel, you're very excited.
Pineapple does belong on pizza.
I know.
Wenzel's like, here's what I'm wearing.
Pineapple does belong on pizza.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yep.
Take it. I know
Who in here disagrees that pizza or that pineapple shouldn't be on pizza?
I disagree. Cecil Scott disagrees.
Of course he does.
Which way?
Pineapple on pizza is good.
Yeah.
Yes. Universal good.
Yes.
Okay, good.
I've got a hot take that's horrible. I don't eat cheese on pizza.
What?
What
Yeah.
the fuck?
That's
I
not
used to
pizza
do-
then.
When I was a little kid, I used to do that. I'd always take the cheese off and eat it without it. I don't know why. It was just so good, but that's crazy.
I do. So I worked at a pizza place for 2 years as a manager of like a restaurant. It's like a pizza place that wanted to be like an O'Charlie's of pizza, and it was like a nice place. We had a full bar, like TVs and stuff. Like, and I'd worked there and I ate pizza so much. Like, and it's not even that it's like cheese I don't like. I just don't like mozzarella anymore. Like, I don't eat mozzarella on my spaghetti, on any baked ziti, on anything. Like, I've ate so much in my lifetime that I just, the idea of it makes me upset.
I feel like I don't know you anymore.
I know.
Speaking of cheese,
What's your normal toppings?
I was going to get cheesecake with Tanner last night if everyone was together because I gave him so much hell last year.
United Front.
Yeah,
It wasn't even last year. It was at SCR.
Oh,
March.
yeah, you're right. So I was going to be like, I got cheesecake. My take on pizza?
Yeah, what are your favorite toppings?
Oh, I'm usually like a chicken and jalapeno type guy
That's good.
or a ham and pineapple.
Yeah.
But plain cheese is always good. Like,
Do you ever dip your pizza in ranch?
oh, hell
Get the
yeah.
fuck outta
What?
Don't
Never
talk
mind.
about ranch to Kerry. He hates ranch.
I hate ranch too. Like it's
I hate
disgusting.
blue cheese.
My man, dude. So like one of the first like real girlfriends I ever had when I was younger, I hate ranch. Like the smell of it makes me sick. If I can eat it if it's very like the little burger bites from Chili's when I worked there like years ago. I would eat those just because I couldn't taste it on it, and I'd be like, well, free. But like when I was younger, this girl was like, you don't really hate ranch. You wouldn't hate it if I gave you a kiss with ranch on it. I was like, the fuck I don't. Like, like we were at a food court in the mall, and it was like me and my buddies and her. She dipped a chicken nugget in it and put ranch on her lips and kissed me. I went to the bathroom and violently threw up for like an hour. And I was like, I'm taking you home.
That's funny because the reason why I don't like ranch also has to do with the girl and just because of the fact that I just don't like the taste of it. But I remember back in elementary school, there's one bitch would always get pizza with pineapple on it,
Respect.
and dip it in ranch. And I'm like,
That's
you're disgusting.
God.
Like,
If I wasn't married,
Oh yeah.
well, first off, I mean, that's also cafeteria pizza. I won't think I would trust a cafeteria pizza with pineapple on it. I don't
No.
trust that process at all.
I just realized that's fucking crazy because they usually just serve regular cheese pizza.
What if they just had the fruit cups and they just like poked the hole, drained it out, and just like threw it on the square?
That's probably exactly what happened. To be honest,
Mwah, gourmet food.
I will take your $2.50 now, 5-year-old.
What's even crazier is that Wenzel takes his food choices from an incident almost 15 years ago at this point. So, I mean, that probably tells you everything you need to know about Wenzel.
yeah.
Man after my own heart. Pizza back, no cheese, extra sauce, pepperoni, bacon, and mushroom.
I can respect that. That doesn't just seem so messy.
It is.
Kerry's the messiest guy I know.
Dude, yeah, I have an unhealthy love for ketchup. As much as I hate ranch, I love ketchup. Hook it to my veins. I will just...
First time, like, we drove somewhere and we sat at a Burger King, and he had
cup
like
after cup
10
after
of those
cup.
little white cups of ketchup. I'm like, why so many? He goes, you don't know? I love ketchup. And I'm like, oh, well, I have 2, and I used just 1. I'm like, you want this extra one?
Oh yeah.
Just fucking
And he just
shoots into
funneled
his
it.
mouth.
Yeah.
I'm not a big ketchup. I love how now everybody's like, let's talk about food for a little bit.
I love it.
No, seriously, because A, it's
Common
entertaining,
ground.
and B, like I want to see where we line up and correlate and where we don't.
Yeah.
And when people ask
there
me
should be a
if you had
spreadsheet
one
for
last
this.
meal, who would it be with? I'd find the person who has all my likes.
Yeah,
I have a
sure.
checklist going on
What
right
would be
now.
your last meal?
Probably a buffet because it never ends.
That's a fucking
so I never
cheap
die.
answer, though.
Why?
'Cause
I'm a carny. I'm super
Yeah, but you
cheap.
can't.
Come
but,
on.
Okay, if you're in prison, they're like, "What's your last meal?" A buffet.
okay.
They're like, "Fuck you."
Probably nachos. Nachos and pizza are my 2 favorite foods.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the Logan's nachos. Not Logan's nachos now. It was like 5 years ago before they changed the menu. It was the best nachos I've ever had. I'm a big nacho guy. I'm always on the search for the best nachos. You got any suggestions?
Have you had the City Cafe nachos?
What?
No.
They have nachos.
I'll do that tonight. Are they good? Are they like real good?
Everybody I've heard that's ordered them is very good.
I had their chimichanga last night, which has a lot of their stuff that's on the nachos. shit was fantastic.
Okay.
Like
I'm
the
about to
cheese
get lunch.
itself was fantastic, and it's like $13 for a whole fucking plate of them.
I'll try it.
Like filled to the brim.
I'll try.
I was gonna get it, but I decided to get the chimichanga because I'm a chimichanga guy. So.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
I'm probably getting nachos tonight.
Yeah.
So
Then I'll just take from you.
yeah, you just come and take a bite.
Gotta answer, or you gotta answer my important question. What?
has a bit he's doing.
Yeah.
What are both of you guys? What are your favorite cheesecakes? It can either be at City Cafe or just in general.
None.
Okay.
I hate cheesecake.
Oh.
If I can taste it, it's not, like oh, it's Oreo cheesecake, and I like my wife's a baker by trade, like that. She went to culinary school and stuff. Like she makes like a lot of homemade food and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
But at the bakery she works at now, she like brings home cakes and like stuff. She's like, oh, I got an Oreo cheesecake. I think you'll love it. Love it because I love Oreos, and I'll eat it. Like I'd eat the little like pies that like aren't really cheesecake pies or anything that come from like Burger King because I'm like, oh, I can't taste it. This wonderful, expensive, full cheesecake that she brought to the house, I took one bite and I was like, nope.
What are you eating that whole
I feel
thing?
like I don't even know you.
I'm a monster on the inside.
Like his wife's a baker and he doesn't eat it, and my wife's a dietitian, and I'm talking about all this terrible food that I'd eat. It's like so opposite. At a Cheesecake Factory, like they have during Christmas time, they have like this candy cane cheesecake, and I think like it changed my world. It was so good. I do like plain cheesecake. It's just that I don't like plain cheesecake at City Cafe because there's so many options.
Apparently you do. You took a bite of mine last
Well, I know. No, I do
I
like
remember
it.
seeing you
That's
with
just
it.
what dog.
I felt like I saw you. Some of last night's a blur to me because it was so wild. But I felt like I saw you with the cheesecake, and I just went, like Mecca.
Yeah, I ate it during the other Kick Out 2 podcast.
Yeah, I was about to say, Nick, like right after the podcast started, comes to me, drops to a knee, and just opens his mouth, and he points at the cheesecake.
That sounds terrible.
It was an awful visual from. I was scared to death, so I was like, I need to give this man what he wants.
Well, I'm putting my hand out right now. Where's the money?
Well, I don't have any money for myself.
Well, then never mind.
But thank you guys so much for coming on.
Thank you. Sorry we were late.
It's been fun.
I mean, again, you guys livened
Let's
up.
go another hour.
Fuck.
I woke up under the sink and I was like, we gotta go to Tanner's. Like,
I'm like, start without me, Kerry. It's like a tag match. He starts, I'll come in. You guys dog me a little bit. Kerry comes in, saves it.
Fucking saves it. Yeah. So plug all your shit.
Hair plugs, $2.99, Amazon. Not those plugs, but oh, yeah. I don't know about that. Twitter.com / or at the Carnies TN, Kerry Awful, Iggy NJ210, Instagram Nick Iggy, Kerry Awful, YouTube.com / the Carnies.
Yep.
No, the Carnies.
Yeah. The
Facebook's
Carnies.
the Carnies TN.
Yep.
We have ProWrestlingTees.com / the Carnies, FoleyGimmick.com / the Carnies. We
Corey
have
Ray Jepsen.
Yeah, Corey Ray
Jepsen.
Jepsen.bigcartel.com for little wrestling buddies. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Probably more to come.
We're doing a lot of new stuff on our YouTube, way more digital content, because I'm one of the guys who I watch more YouTube than I do cable television.
Yeah.
And I've got like a DVR and like the little fancy like package with the phone you talk into that pulls up the channels. But I like social media a lot, and I love studying it, and I love digital content and micro content, and we're trying. That's like one thing that I think that we do very well is social media, and we try to give people stuff to watch besides just wrestling matches they have to look for. We got some cool stuff coming out for that soon.
Most def.
Dog Days podcast on ProWrestlingPonderings.com, PWPonderings.com. It's about wrestling, but I normally veer off into either we talk about random stuff or we talk about like why people shouldn't be dicks. It's a very eclectic mix, but give that a listen. We have a digital version of that on our YouTube page, and then we have, of course, on Stitcher, iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. That's it. Anything that's on Libsyn, you can listen to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, awesome, guys. Thank you for stopping by. Great stuff.
Did y'all eat breakfast today?
No, we haven't eaten breakfast yet.
I was going to see what everyone got because I'm about to go get some
Well, I had a
breakfast.
half piece of cheesecake for breakfast. I had cheesecake from last night.
I respect you.
Thank you for coming by.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
What's up, guys? Another segment here, All You Can Hear podcast with me. Wenzel
is
here, and I'm joined by special guest Dominic Garrini, coming live from AIW school, doing all sorts of cool shit. Legit, one of my favorites right now. I talked a little behind the curtain a little bit. I was talking to Dylan a little bit, and I found out that you were coming down. I was like, you have to help me get Dominic on the podcast. I was like, I don't want to ask in a public eye, just in case Dominic's like, no, fuck you, fuck off.
No, because that's not the way I operate, man. I was more than happy to do this. Right after I get done with this, I'm gonna go up and do Between the Sheets as well. But that's like my every week podcast I listen to for my road trips. So
yeah, well, I mean, just thank you for coming by. And first question I want to ask: so how long have you been wrestling for?
I started my wrestling training in August of 2015. Mm-hmm. I made my debut in March of 2016. So let's see, it's a year and about 5 months.
Yeah, and I mean, I just think because now we're in an age, it seems like a lot more shooters are getting in to wrestling. You know, you have Riddle with the UFC background. Mm-hmm. You obviously have purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then you have like Tom Lawler trying to get into wrestling. And I kind of want to know, like, that. Does that help you? I mean, obviously you integrated a lot into your wrestling, but did that kind of put you ahead of the curve? And like, this is obviously in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you don't learn how to like take a bump or something. Oh, yeah, but I wonder how much it helped you.
It helped me a lot. Like, I remember, so I've taught jiu-jitsu as well to kids, and one of the big things I teach them is break falls, and a break fall is essentially just a smaller version of a bump. Mm-hmm. So like, I kind of had a general gist of how to bump, but it also helps that when I was like 15, there was like an indie wrestler that I used to hang out with that taught me how to bump when I was like 15.
Oh yeah.
Of course, when you come back, because I'm 27, when you come back at 26, you don't exactly remember perfectly, but that helped. But a lot of like footwork and movement based things are a lot easier for someone like me than say someone that comes right off the streets and is like, hey, I just watched WrestleMania last night and I want to become a wrestler now.
Yeah, like it for me, like from a viewer, because I've been a fan of wrestling for just a little over a decade now, since I was 11, and for me, like seeing somebody again like you or a Riddle that has like this background, it makes it feel like more legitimate. Like last night you wrestled Eric Royal and like doing all that shit, and I'm like, this is insane. Like, this is my first time seeing you live. And I was just like, I mean, like, how quick you are. Like, you're just incredibly quick.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like you can transition from arm to leg to leg to arm and, like, seamlessly. And it's so cool because, like, somebody with, 18 months experience.
Yeah.
You never really see that often. And it's just so cool, especially with somebody, like, as young. Because, again, a lot of these guys are getting into it and, like, a lot of them are in their 30s and like you're still young, you're in your 20s and you're able to do this, and it's just really cool to see.
Thank you. I'm pretty good friends with Tom. We brought him in AIW a few times, and I've gotten a chance to drive around with him. We actually text on a weekly basis, just touch base on stuff.
Yeah.
And like Tom was trained to be a pro wrestler before he actually decided to go into the UFC. Mm-hmm. He did a trial camp for Deep South, so I always like to talk with Tom about the similarities and everything. But for me, like, when I was growing up in indie wrestling, Samoa Joe was, like, an extremely big deal because, if you work your timelines for how old I am, I was, like, really big in indie wrestling 05, 06, 07. Mm-hmm. So, like, Samoa Joe was, like, a big deal in 04 and 05, and, like, he was my favorite wrestler besides until I found Kevin Steen. So he was like my absolute favorite wrestler, and if you look at like those older Samoa Joe matches, those matches just have a feeling of like a real fight to them. They had a little bit of a different feel from a lot of the stuff you'd see on ROH as opposed to like the AJ Styleses and the CM Punks that were telling more of the pro wrestling based stories. Like I think every month I watch Joe Kobashi one.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. I try to pull something from that.
Joe Butcher, another insane one.
Oh man, that one.
I mean,
I show that one to my non-wrestling fan friends or like my jiu-jitsu fan friends, and it just like it freaks them out because of how badly Necro just gets crushed in that match.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've shown at least a couple people in here the Joe Butcher match, but every time I show it to a non-fan or just like a WWE fan, they're just like, "Why are they doing? Do they actually hate each other? Like,
I explode.
Did Necro steal money from Joe? Like, what happened here?"
Yeah,
and it's insanity. One thing I like, because again. Going back to like the real like shooters, if you let me get my words. Okay, so you had guys back in the mid '80s, late '80s. You kind of had like your Fujiwaras and your all those guys in like PWFG, UWFI, and stuff like that. And like, do you go and like watch their tape and see what they did? Like, I think Fujiwara is one of the greatest ever.
When I first got hooked up with Kerry to just like talk about, you know, bookings and stuff, Kerry introduced me to Dylan, and the first guy Dylan told me to watch is Fujiwara. So I watch a lot of Fujiwara. I watch a lot of UWFI in general. Yeah. MOJ, who does the announcement for CCW, came to me WrestleMania weekend and he said his favorite thing in the world was seeing my threads on Crazy Max looking for UWFI because my username is not very hidden. It's literally my first initial, my last name. So it's like, I wonder who that guy is. Let's remember, I created this multiple years ago before I thought I was going to be a wrestler. So I'm always like looking for like UWFI and like clinics. So like those are my two big things I always look for on like Crazy Max. So he's like, it's my favorite thing ever when I see you do that. But you know, I like to study a lot of older UWFI, and I'm still trying to get some promoter to pull the trigger on doing like a UWFI rules based match with the rope breaks, with the points, like the confusingest match possible. But I always try to get that pulled off. No one ever goes for it, but maybe at some point I'll pull it off.
At some point. It's so funny because I couldn't imagine like a kid going in there is like, here's a UWFI match and you have 10 points to work with and you have a limited number of rope breaks, and I couldn't imagine like having to, but I personally I think it would be kick ass, but
that's that's why I like things like Ambition over in WXW, and then that Titan shoot battle is coming back over in the UK, so might need to make some contacts for that.
Might need to make some calls. I think you'd be incredible in that, but it's just so cool to see. Because, I mean, like, a lot of pro wrestling is like punch, punch, punch. One of my favorite things in wrestling, and I don't know if there's a proper term for them, but it's when you do the overhand slaps. So I call them sumo strikes.
I just call them homas.
Okay, so, but, like, that's my favorite thing. Like, when Akira Tao and All Japan did them, or, like, even, like, just recent guys. Like, John Tenta used to do them a lot.
Yeah.
And you do them, and, like, obviously you don't have a sumo background, but, like, every time I see that, I lose my shit. I don't know why. I guess it's because, like, I kind of like sumo, but, like, I'm not super into it. But I just lose my shit for it. So, like, what was, like, how did you integrate just regular pro wrestling things or even things from other, like, professional backgrounds like sumo? Like, what made you decide, like, that's something that will work?
You're going to laugh about this. The open hand strikes that I do, those were actually a Matt Riddle recommendation. Mm-hmm. I did one of the Evolve seminar camps, and he pulled me aside, and Matt's always been really cool to me. You know, obviously, shooters recognize shooters. And he recommended I use more open hand strikes, and then that was back in March, so I kind of integrated those into my game, and I've done those a lot more now. But I also kind of stole that idea from William Regal, because when I got a chance to speak with him at that Evolve camp, we both agreed that, like, a shooter gimmick, you probably shouldn't punch anybody. Yeah. Because the moment that I punch you, you should probably be knocked out. And if not, that makes you look weak. Mm-hmm. So if you're watching anything I do recently, like probably within the last 4 or 5 months, and the only punch I'll do, I'll make sure someone drops from it, because it kind of discredits what you would do as a shooter. That's why the open hand strikes are more important. I've added a lot of like the open hand stuff. I've added the spinning back elbow. That one comes from John Jones straight up. Yeah. Like you watch like those early UFC fights he would do like against Stephen Bonner. He's dropping them with those spinning back elbows. Because I wanted to not do the spinning back fist, but so many guys use the spinning back fist. So I want to do something a little different. And then now I'm bringing stuff in, like I said, that I see like from like the Kobashi double chops and stuff like that. Yeah. And just like anytime I see something remotely cool in jiu-jitsu, I'm just going to try to see
you're like, let's try it once.
Yeah, I'm going to see what I can do with it in pro wrestling or how I can adjust it to pro wrestling. My jiu-jitsu coach will send me stuff like from jiu-jitsu, and if he thinks it's a good pro wrestling fit, like he'll be like, hey Dom, why don't you try this in a match? So it's stuff like that. And that's like finding little pro wrestling things that like maybe that is a jiu-jitsu based thing, like the AJ Styles calf killer. Well, how can I do that differently than AJ Styles? You know, because people like obviously like I'll put dudes in it at training because no one believes it hurts, and I'll put a guy in it and I'll tap them. They're like, oh okay, that's real.
Yeah. So I just love how you like what a student of the game you are, and multiple facets. You know, you're looking at early UFC, looking at Kobashi, and like I feel like I don't want to discredit anybody, but I feel like a lot of people just don't put in that time anymore, and especially when it's all so easily accessible. Like I mean, like even like you looking on Crazy Max, like even when I first got into like Japanese wrestling stuff in like 2011, it was impossible. Like it would take weeks and weeks for like Wrestle Kingdom to be uploaded. But now it's just all at the click of a button. Correct. And like here's All Japan's entire run, and like here's like every match Noah has ever filmed, and like it's kind of insane that like we're so fortunate, and like especially up and coming wrestlers are so fortunate to have that tape to study, not behind a paywall.
Yeah, let's put it this way. When I was really into independent wrestling, like, I have a very similar Tom Lawler story. I was going to train when I was going to be 16 to be a pro wrestler. That was like my first true tried love. Was going to be a pro wrestler. Then high school came along, and all of a sudden wrestling wasn't as cool anymore when you were on the high school wrestling team and you were playing football.
Yeah.
So those kids that were like the wrestling friend, like the high school wrestling team kids were total dicks about me liking pro wrestling. And it just turned, I kind of shifted over to UFC, which everybody liked. And then when I was out of high school, like, to be honest with you, WWE was at like a real dark time there.
Yeah.
Like, not like, I love John Cena, and I think he's probably the best of my generation easily. But at that time, like, it was definitely nothing I was going to.
It was definitely uncool to like John Cena then.
Yeah, and it wasn't something I was going to be necessarily into. So like, I fully immersed myself into like MMA and like the UFC, and that led me to jiu-jitsu. And I always thought, oh, well, I'll be an MMA fighter. And then like, I got so immersed in the sport Brazilian jiu-jitsu that it was my goal to be a jiu-jitsu world champion. And then I tried that for about 7 years, and I just got burned out. Got burned out real bad on it. I had a coach from Chicago that pushed me just way too hard. Instead of ever giving me compliments, it was just always how bad I was and how I wasn't improving. And I was winning tournaments. I just wasn't winning at the national, or I wasn't winning on the international level. So I won the Chicago Open, which was like the goal tournament to win of mine. And I was like, I'm going to do Worlds, see how it goes. Lost first round, like mega depressed from it. And I went to Raw when I came back from the Worlds, and I was like, okay, now I'm going to do pro wrestling. And that coach, I saw him 2 weeks ago. He asked me how pro wrestling was going. I told him it's going better than jiu-jitsu as a competitive facet ever did for me. And he kind of like discredited it, and still to him, he doesn't see it, but that's fine on him. He's like he knows pro wrestling, and maybe he just doesn't see it. But my more local gym that I train at back home, they all love it. Most of my gym mates come to fight or come to my matches, so I love that. But on to the tape thing. Sorry, I was weird tired. I wanted
no, that's fine.
Yeah, I was actually gonna ask about like what were your aspirations like. Was wrestling like the goal, or like was it jiu-jitsu?
Jiu-jitsu was the complete goal. I think it was I just moved like a month ago, and on my wall I still had 2015 goals on a whiteboard that said IBJJF World Champion. I don't know why I never took it down until I moved, but I just did. And believe me, if I even had time to do a jiu-jitsu tournament with how busy my wrestling schedule is, I would consider it at this point. But it was one of those things that it was so much of a job that it wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah.
And I've had literally many people from my home school, East Coast Martial Arts, tell me that I was just a dick. And I don't discredit it. I was a total asshole when it came to training. Like, I was that guy that was just coming in, training, trying to be selfish, and I wasn't helping out everybody. And when I started pro wrestling, like, my whole demeanor changed. I was a completely different person. I was much happier. I was much more willing to help everybody. And overall, it's made my life, like, pro wrestling at the on the jiu-jitsu level has made my life at like my home gym so much better. So
yeah, okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's good. That's good. So onto the idea of footage and stuff like that is, I think a lot of people know this, but maybe not a lot of people do. Is I'm the head trainer now at the AIW Academy. Believe me, it is not the preferred way of choice. I wish Johnny was still there.
Yeah.
I wish Candice was still there. I wish we had the budget to maybe bring in, like, we could move somebody to Cleveland and make them the trainer, but it's one of those things that it just doesn't work, and I'm awkwardly enough the best option. So when I did that, it comes back to that footage thing. I've got to find footage now for not only myself, but I'm responsible for 8 kids.
Yeah.
And if you see me tonight, you'll see 2 of them with me. They are purely. They both have, like, I think 3 weeks of training with Gargano before he left, but then otherwise they're pretty much exclusively trained by me, surprisingly. Although
I mean, that's insane because, again, you've been training for 18 months and like.
Yeah, I tell them to put Johnny and Candice on their resumes when they start out the promoter. So I'm not gonna release the 2 kids who are with me. But yeah, so it's that, and now also it's like I have got to toe the line of like pushing these kids to watch footage, and it's one of the things that. There's definitely kids in the academy that I say, hey, you've got legitimately 2 moves because you were in scrambles so far, or you were in battle royals. Like, let's develop some more so you have some stuff that can make you shine out. And some of them just don't listen. And to me, it's insane because no matter what, I'm going to make my time to watch 2 to 3 matches a day. Like, for me, if I'm doing 40 minutes of cardio on the elliptical, I'm looking to find 2 matches to put on my phone to watch. Like, especially right now, the G1's going on. Yeah, so I'm guaranteeing you're going to have 1 to 2 matches a night that you're going to want to watch. Like, if Ibushi's wrestling, pretty much make sure you watch that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, for me, if Sabre Jr.'s wrestling, I'm going to watch that. So it's one of those things that it's like toting this line with these kids of like, hey, guys, this is all out there. Like, when I was 15 and I wanted to be a pro wrestler originally, and this is how somehow in my warped mind, I bring this all back to me being able to be a pro wrestler at 15. When I was 15, I was super pumped when I was able to get the newest, and you know what? Sue me here. When I was able to get the newest ROH show off Crazy Max for $5, and I had to send you a money order.
Yeah, I mean,
okay, because my parents didn't have credit cards, so I didn't have PayPal.
Yeah, and it's actually insane. Like, this was not that like.
This was 12
like
years ago.
05, 06?
Yeah, 06. Like, hey, Danielson and Roddy just had a 45-minute classic at ROH. Yeah. Can't wait for 2 weeks for it to drop on video, another week for my money order to get there, and another 3 days for it to get shipped to me.
Yeah.
You know, like, these are the things that I remember waiting for. And, man, it is not that way. Because even, like, you look at, like, we work so closely with the AIW with Smart Mark Video.
Yeah.
And Smart Mark Video has our shows up, and, you know, sometimes they have to show up the next day. Like, the JT Lightning Invitational, that whole show was up the next day at hard cam only. And a week later, it was up fully to download and to get DVDs, you know? So it's like, this was not the turnaround time back then. And, you know, also, like, everybody has PayPal now. So it's like, boom, boom, boom. Or it's like an MP4. It's like, I send you the money. I can literally watch the show right away.
Right now, yeah. It's insane just how quickly it's changed in the last, because it feels like it was in the, again, I didn't become a fan until like 07, but like, it feels like the first half of my fandom is like very hard to get footage, and now it's like, you have everything at your fingertips. Like, you watch, there's a New Japan World app. I could watch the G1 on my phone. It's insanity.
Oh, yeah.
But it used to be like you had to wait for like Real Hero to upload it. Mm-hmm. Like in my times, like you had to wait for Real Hero to upload Wrestle Kingdom, and sometimes it like he couldn't get a good copy of it for 3 weeks, and then he would upload it, and then it would get copyright striked, and then it would be down in 2 days. So if you didn't watch it, you're kind of screwed. So it's awesome to be there now. So
oh yeah.
Well, Dom, Wenzel, you want to do your little bit?
Yeah. What's your favorite cheesecake?
Favorite cheesecake? Pumpkin cheesecake.
Really? That's like
a good answer.
Yeah.
2 times.
Yeah, 2 times we've gotten that.
I'm just a basic white dude, so like I like pumpkin stuff. So it's about that time of the year where I'm gonna get real pumped to eat everything pumpkin. Like me and Gargano might have been the 2 happiest kids in the world when they did pumpkin quest bars when I was first training. Like we bought all the pumpkin quest bars.
I actually very much like pumpkin. I saw where they already had like the Werther original butterscotch. They already have the pumpkin ones in stores, and it's like the first week of August.
Oh well, I'm a very big Sheetz connoisseur, and they have all kinds of Halloween candy at Sheetz already. And it wasn't even August yet. It was the end of July. I was like, wow, we are really jumping the shark on this one.
Yeah. See, we don't really have Sheetz where we live in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We don't have Sheetz. We don't have Wawa. I don't get the whole controversy with that. So I'm guessing you're a Sheetz guy.
I am a Sheetz guy. So you'll laugh about this. I was booked in Brooklyn last week, and when you cross a certain line, you lose Sheetz's and you get into Wawa's, and it's a very depressing state. But I needed gas so bad I had to stop at a Wawa, and I ate. And Wawa has great quesadillas. I'll give them that. But that is all I'm giving Wawa.
I feel like we may need to edit
No, you're fine. You're fine. Gregory Iron will come to my defense on this no matter what. The handicap hero will come to my defense on this. Dr. Daniel C. Rockingham will come to my defense on this. Everyone will come to my defense on this. You go to Wawa, good quesadillas, best thing they have there, but it's still inferior Sheetz. Okay? Laying that gauntlet down. They have 2 good things. I take that back. Quesadillas, Coke Freestyle. That's it. Okay? And the Coke Freestyle, if Sheetz wanted to, they could probably do it, but I think they have to deal with Pepsi, so they have to do Pepsi and Coke products.
My goodness. Well, Dom, thank you so much for coming on. Like, I knew, again, like, I remember when Dylan was like, hey guys, you guys really need to, it was like a year, however long ago, I lose track of time so easily. Dylan was like, you need to watch this match, and sent me one of your matches, and I was like, oh yeah, this guy's really good, this is what I like. And then I remember watching like the Stallion match at Punk Pro you had WrestleMania weekend, and like that match was insane. I love both of you guys. So I thank you so much for coming on. You want to do any plugs? Obviously, plug away.
Yeah, little known on that Stallion match. That was literally, I messaged Kurt, I think, because like we weren't even friends before it, and now we're really good friends after the match. I think I pulled him aside and I said, hey, we're like the first match of this amazingly long weekend of wrestling, so let's make everything have to do everything to pass us up, and that was what we thought we did. But and then let's see, plugs. Twitter at DGarrini, DGARRINIBC. So that is my Twitter. My Facebook is just my name. A little bit more personal on there, but feel free to add me. I tell everybody that. Like, I don't even post that much on it, but I'm there, and honestly, I get messages from fans all the time, and I will reply because the fans are everything. So feel free to add me on there. Instagram is @dgreennybjj. I could have changed that tag, but it's just dumb at this point, then I have to change it. And then I do have Pro Wrestling Tees store. I prefer everybody gets my shirts in person, but if obviously, you know, if you guys are from Tuscaloosa, so it'd be difficult for you guys, like if I wasn't doing shows here.
To come up to Cleveland.
Or wherever I'm at, although I do travel quite a bit. So that is going to be that's going to be Pro Wrestling Tees /D Garrini. And then I'll just give AIW a little plug here. We have a show coming up in September 15th. Right, yeah. Just September 15th or 16th. I'm the worst with dates. I'm sorry.
It's hard to keep up sometimes.
Yeah, especially because we're running a lot for AIW. September 15th, AIW, and this is more so for any pro wrestlers that want to get better. We are bringing in Dean Malenko to do a clinic that day. So we just had Arn Anderson in July, and now we're bringing Dean Malenko in. So if you want to learn how to wrestle from one of the best ever, especially on the mat, come on up to Cleveland. I believe Shop AI Wrestling has the link for that, so feel free to head on over there, and hopefully, you know, I could see you guys up there in training.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for coming on, and I think that's going to do it.
What's up, everyone? Tanner back here with the All You Can Hear podcast. With me for this segment, I have Wenzel.
Hey, I overslept.
I have Colt.
What's up?
And I have special guest Tank.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, no problem, no problem. And we're just going to be going over, like, this is Tank's retirement weekend. And it's like, you know, been wrestling for longer than these two have been alive. Fun fact. And we're just going to be talking about, like, what this weekend means to him. And I guess that's how we're going to go off of, like, Tank, what does this weekend feel to you? You know, first round match, Matt Riddle tonight. How does that, what's going through your head? Like, how does that feel? You know, this is climax.
I've been trying to just deal with it as good as I can all week because I've been a nervous wreck. Been trying to clear my head because this business has been my passion for 21 years, and decided to give it up because I have a beautiful family at home that need their dad. I got a 19-year-old who hates me because of wrestling. 11-year-old who she's kind of dealing with it, and I have a 9-month-old, so I don't really want her to be a part of any of this circus we call wrestling. Yeah. She's come to a couple of the shows, and like she'll hear me cut promos, and she'll kind of look around like, "Hey, there's Daddy. Oh, there he is." And then we'll just stick a bottle in her mouth, and she's good. It just means a lot, you know. I get to retire in my hometown.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of guys they have to quit because of injury or just getting too old. I'm 46, so I got a few years left in the tank, so to say. And I got my health. I mean, I have a few banged up shoulders and knees, but nothing I can't deal with. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be an emotional night. I'm a crier. So if you see a fat guy cry, don't make fun of me, because I'll cut little promos in the back before big shows at different shows, and I'll just start squalling, and then they're all looking at me like, "What the hell is he crying about?" That's just me, man. I'm just the passion that I've had for this business for so long. I mean, I've been watching since I was 9 years old. Yeah. And I've loved every minute of everything I've done. I mean, there's a few guys I've had to beat up and rough up. I've always apologize to them. It might take a while, it might take a week or two. I always get a hold of them and say, "Hey, sorry that happened," and everybody's cool with it, because I took a few ass whippings when I started. So.
It's just so cool to me that, like, you're so respected. Especially in the Southeast, everybody just has the utmost respect for you, and the fact that you get to go out on your own terms is great. You got to pick your opponent for winning the Scenic City Rumble back in March, so you got to hand pick Matt Riddle to be your opponent. And it's so, because a lot of guys do have to retire because of injuries or just all sorts of circumstances, but you get to go out on your own terms. I think that's incredibly cool. So
yeah, I believe so too, and I picked Riddle for just the simple fact that he's the top deal going today.
Yeah.
And if I beat him, hell yeah. If not, then I'll come tomorrow night and try to sell some merch. I'm gonna have merch, by the way. But anyway, yeah, man. I just like I said, I'm able to quit on my own terms,
I mean, yeah. I mean, I can't fathom, like, that's just, again, because there's just so many people, especially in wrestling, like, people, like, don't, because, I mean, these are these three's first wrestling show ever tonight. And, like, there's not a whole, you know, like in sports, you see a lot of guys have to retire because it's, you know, like, concussions or, you know, leg injuries or arm injuries or something. But, like, the fact that you get to go on your own terms, I think, again, is just a great, especially for the kind of matches you've wrestled for your whole career.
Yes, I've done. I'm very well known as a deathmatch wrestler. I mean, I've been all over the country getting hit with light tubes and rolling around in barbed wire and thumbtacks, or you name it. I've probably been hit by it. But, you know, I don't want to be labeled as a deathmatch wrestler.
Yeah.
I'm just a wrestler who happens to do death matches.
Yeah.
And I got pretty good at them. I mean, I've done like a lot of the hardcore matches before I got into death matches. And, you know, I grew up in the South. I grew up watching Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair bleeding all over the place.
Yeah.
And when I got into wrestling back in '96, I had promised my mom I would never bleed. And, like, the second show she ever came to, I bled, and she was like, nope, not going back. And, yeah, it's just I don't know. The death matches are cool. I mean, I got to wrestle Tremont a couple weeks ago. He's wrestling Onita this weekend.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for this show, I would be in New Jersey.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. To see Onita live.
Just to see him, because, you know, he is the forefather of deathmatch wrestling. And Mr. Pogo, you know, he just passed away a few weeks ago. So hats off to Tremont. Go kick his ass. And hopefully I can get through tonight and get a victory over Matt Riddle. If not, like I said, I'll hang out tomorrow and we'll eat cheesecake.
Yeah, we will. We will be.
You know, this is my last weekend in the business or in ring. I'm not going to go away.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a pretty good what we call a finish guy. I can come up with finishes off the top of my head and shoot them to guys. And anybody that wants to listen to me and want to learn the business, they can always hit me up anytime.
Absolutely. And that's what, like, again, because, you know, there's not many athletes that have careers that span 2 decades. Like, you don't see that in like football or baseball or anything, but in wrestling, that's the cool thing, that people can have these 2, 3, 4 decade careers and, you know, not bat an eye. So, and you've gotten to wrestle, I mean, some of the world's finest in the ring. Who to you has stood out in the ring throughout your career? And you're like, that guy is, he's good.
First time I ever went to Cornelia, Georgia for NWA Wildside, I just went to visit just to check it out because Dan Wilson was announcing. And I hadn't seen hardly anybody on that roster. And there was a guy, you might know who he is, AJ Styles.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I saw him come out. He had on these wind pants, and I was like, well, the look's not too good. But then I saw him do a shooting star press and the top rope to the floor, and I was like, this kid's going to make it.
Yeah, and this was, what year was
2000.
this? Yeah, so, like, that was
October 2000. And I did some time up at IWA Mid-South, seeing CM Punk for the first time. I'd seen videos of him, never watched him in person. And I got to go in the ring and roll around with him. I'm like, yeah, this kid gets it.
Yeah.
Chris Hero, another one.
Absolutely.
I mean, a lot of these guys I saw, like Roderick Strong came through Wildside, and we just made fun of him because he had on these little tearaway pants. We kept walking by and ripping them off of him. And he was another one. I was like, he kind of had a bad attitude at the time, but then he learned the business and learned to respect it. And, I've just seen so many guys, guys I've been in the ring with. Cesaro, I still call him Claudio.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins, you name it. I mean, I've been on tons of shows with these guys.
Yeah.
And and then they always came to me for advice, and it's kind of cool now that they're where they're at, and they're asking me questions about how do you think this would look, or how do you think this would look, and I'd be like, yeah, man, go for it.
I mean, that's got to make you feel good because you just see all these people that you had a direct influence on, and now they're out there, killing it, whether it be in WWE or Ring of Honor or Punk with that UFC deal.
Yeah,
He'll
be back. He'll be back.
Oh, yeah, I think so as well. But it's so cool just to see the kind of influence you've had, on all these guys throughout the year. And again, it's just insane the amount of respect, like. Last night after we recorded, Papa Hales was just talking about Tank, and we were talking about Tank, and it's one of the cool things about the Scenic City Invitational, and I'm excited to talk to Dylan and Josh about this. But like, of course you have the overarching story, you know, it's a tournament, blah, blah, blah. I think the highlight of the weekend is Tank's retirement weekend, and the fact that you're in the tournament, you're against Riddle. I mean, you could win the whole thing.
Yep.
I mean, that's very plausible. You could win the whole tournament and, just never have to defend it. And then just be like, oh, I'm forever.
I won it, now I'm done.
Yeah.
Screw you guys.
I mean, that would be the best way to go out. That's like Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl and just
retiring, yeah.
Yeah, just dropping it. One last thing I do want to ask you. If there was one guy, so obviously I know Riddle's a big match for you. I know you talked about it last year at SCI. You wanted to get in the ring with Riddle. If there was one guy you could look back and be like, man, I wish I could have shared a ring with him. Who would that be?
Bruiser Brody.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, absolutely. Bruiser Brody. Again, for those that don't know, not even so much a deathmatch guy, just like the biggest, baddest. I mean, literal big, just incredible guy. Super. I mean, he kind of put the I don't want to say crazy people, but like he was on the map of being like this insane guy, kind of like an Abdullah the Butcher, of just doing a bunch of crazy shit, pretty much. And it was awesome.
Yeah, he was one of my favorites growing up. And I mean, first time I'd ever seen him was here in Chattanooga. He wrestled Abdullah, and they were brawling all through the crowd, and I'm crying because they're getting so close to us. And I was like 9 or 10 years old. But then when I got older and saw the Japan stuff, it was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
This guy's awesome. But I've got a long list of guys that I would have loved. And of course, everybody wants to wrestle Ric Flair.
Yeah.
That one time. But I've got to share the ring with a lot, some Hall of Famers. Dusty Rhodes, Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson, Abdullah the Butcher. So, like I said, my time has been fun.
Oh, absolutely.
And like I said, I wouldn't have changed anything for the world. I know I never got signed and never blah, blah, blah. That's everybody's goal. But like Dusty Rhodes told me a couple of years before he passed away, he was at a show with me and Iceberg and said, if I'd have had you guys in the 80s, we'd have made a shitload of money. So I was born just a few years too late. So.
I mean, from a fan perspective, it's been so fun. Like I haven't been a fan, as long as like a Papa Hales or any of them. Like I've been a fan for about a decade, but just going back and watching some of your old stuff and watching like your current stuff and like you doing cool. Like this year, I think has been one of the more fun years of your career, just because you have the whole retirement tour and you did that death match with Jesse at Subgraps, and you had the Tremont match, and tonight you get tonight you get the Riddle match. Yes. And like who knows what, like if Gunnar Miller or Shane Marks was to win that match, you could get Gunnar Miller tomorrow night, or you could get Shane Marks tomorrow night, and then you just go on and win the whole tournament. And
yeah, I'm 0-2 against Gunnar Miller, so I owe him an ass whipping. Yeah. So, nah, man, Gunnar's a good guy. If anybody in this area is going to make it, it's going to be him.
Absolutely, he is incredibly nice. Everybody from that I've ever interacted with from this area, whether it be just people or fans or wrestlers, promoters, everybody's just super nice. But I think that about does it if y'all are down. So Tank, hit us with your plugs. Just plug whatever you want on retirement weekend. You get that one last merch surge.
Oh yeah, man! I will have shirts at the show. If I don't sell them all this weekend, we'll PayPal some shit, and I'll send you a shirt. And I'll have some pictures and all that good stuff. I've never really sold pictures before. My wife's like, how much are we going to sell this shit for? And I was like, I don't know, $1. Never had pictures. Nobody wanted pictures of my ugly ass. So, but maybe being the last weekend, maybe I can sell a few of them. But I'm on Twitter at Tank _ established 1996. Facebook is my real name, Warren Hollander. And yeah, just if you listen to this and if you watch the show, just hit me up. I'll just shoot the shit with wrestling.
Absolutely. Tank, I would like to thank you for coming on to the show.
Thank you.
Huge honor
thanks for having me.
To get to talk to you, and I think that's going to be a wrap.
Wait, I have a question.
Oh, hit.
What's your favorite cheesecake?
I just like plain ass cheesecake.
Thank you. Yes.
Well, yeah, it's good. So
like City Cafe, they have tons of different cheesecakes, but I just like plain ass cheesecake.
Good. We're going to have to kick Nick Iggy's ass, because he's been giving me shit about it for like 6 months.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And
hey,
I think that's.
Thank y'all.